Hello and welcome! It is Team Modern Super League time once again. I'm Randy Bueller. I am joined by Saffron Olive of the Brew Crew. Welcome!
How's it going, Randy?
Going well. I have enjoyed thinking about what your guys' decks are going to do. Looking forward to watching them.
Yeah, I think we have some fun ones. I think all of us have really been enjoying Modern Horizons and just there's some rough spots in Modern with the new cards, like the Hogek deck. That might not be ideal, but there's so many cool things going on. There was like this weird criticism of Modern Horizons with people being like, "Oh, it's a commander set. It's not going to do enough for Modern." But there's so many cool cards and cool decks, and we're going to get to play some of them tonight. So I'm really hyped for it.
Yeah, I mean, the Hogak deck does seem like it's the hottest newness, the newest hotness, something like that. I know it's both teams brought it, right? You kind of can't leave home without it in a format like this right now. But I do notice that, you know what? Wizards was smart enough to schedule a B&R date between Modern Horizons and the upcoming Modern Pro Tour, the Mythic Championships they're called now. I mean, they did that on purpose. I actually think if that's what they needed to do to like let them push stuff, I actually don't think that's a terrible strategy. Is, push some stuff, and if you need to clean it up, fine, clean it up.
Yeah, and theoretically, like, while it sounds weird, if you have to ban something a month after the set release, maybe that's better than 6 months down the road when you have a bunch of people that have like got the cards and put together a modern deck and then have it get banned. So we'll see. I mean, I'm excited. I've been loving the format despite losing to Hogak quite a bit, but
fair enough. I'm actually on record saying if they never have to ban a card, they're doing something wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. We want to see powerful, cool things happen in Modern, and if it goes a little too far, you fix it with the ban list. So
exactly. So Hogak aside, you've been exploring Modern. You've been loving Modern Horizons. I want to hear about the jankiness that did not make the cut. Let's start there. What was the craziest, most ridiculous thing that you couldn't quite get to work?
Oh man. So I've been playing a lot of different snow decks. I actually think that the snow sub theme is really powerful, and there's something to explore there. So there's a few different snow decks. Some of the weirder tribal decks. There's some zombies that are really good. I had like a mono black devotion Yawgmoth zombie deck that was winning some games, but it's not quite to the point where I could play it as something like this. I don't think, but maybe eventually, maybe next go around.
Okay.
And then I know like vampires is kind of close. Caleb has been working on this Rally the Ancestors zombie deck that he was so close to bringing tonight, where you can like drain. You can use your like grave crawlers and all the like synergistic zombies, but eventually drain the opponent out of the game with Wayward Servant, which drains whenever a zombie enters play. So there was a lot of stuff that we really had. Oh man, when we were going through like just our chat and trying to decide decks, we probably had like 15 or 20 decks that were like in the conversation and close enough that we were like seriously considering them before we narrowed it down.
All right, that's spectacular. Now, how do you feel about the five that you are bringing?
I really like our decks, actually. I think we have some really cool decks that are also really powerful decks. I'm a little scared with how the matchups broke down. Our opponents this week, the Scary Pterrys, they have some really aggressive decks. Our decks, I don't know how they are going to line up with them, but we have really cool decks. I really like the Celestial Kirin Bant deck. I've been playing a lot of that deck, and I think the combo of Celestial Kirin, Ugin's Conjurant is actually pretty legitimate in Modern. I like our take on the Urza Thopter Sword deck. That's a Caleb deck. I've been playing the Is It version with Goblin. I want to say Goblin Welder. Goblin, whatever the Goblin Welder S card from Modern Horizons.
New Goblin Welder. There you go.
Yes. But Caleb sold us on using Paradox Engine as a way to beat all the graveyard hate that people are playing for the Hogek deck, because then you don't really need your combo. You can play Urza, you play Paradox Engine, and just go infinite mana, cast your entire deck with Urza, so you can kind of combo off without the graveyard at all. Then Death and Taxes, that's a Vince special. That's like Vince's signature deck, Pleasant Kenobi's signature deck. So we just let him like do his thing with Death and Taxes. And I think the Jun list is pretty unique as well. Like when you hear Jun, you think, okay, like typical deck that's been around for 10 years, but we have some really cool new cards. Crashing Footfalls with Dread Hoarder Cannons, really cool combo. You can like cascade into it with Bloodbraid and then get it back and just make a ton of Rhinoceroses. So even the boring decks we have some really cool new Modern Horizon tricks.
I would not call your Jund deck boring. Maybe by your standards, like most of it, it looks like a 50-card Jund deck, but crashing Footfalls for free off Dreadhorde Arcanist, you're apologizing that that's not enough spice? Is that really the conversation we're having?
We have high standards on the Brew Crew.
Awesome. So the Brew Crew this time around, we should mention, it's you, Caleb, and Pleasant Kenobi is the roster. Corbin Hostler officially part of the team, but couldn't make it this week, so you guys are just going to run with 3.
Running with 3. Hopefully Corbin will be back next time. He hasn't been feeling too well lately. So he was there in the chat and helped us talk through the decks a little bit. So hopefully he feels better soon.
Hopefully. And the opponents tonight, the Scary Pterrys. So that's Emma Handy, Megan Wolf, and Autumn Burchett. And yeah, I think your reputation may have preceded yourselves a little bit. They're just like, we need to kill them before the jank has time to manifest. So both a mono red burn deck and a mono red Phoenix deck. And they just want to get you guys dead as quickly as they can.
And Mill is basically Demir burn. I mean, when it comes right out to it, you're essentially kind of burning people out anyway. So yeah, we got a lot of
how good is that Mill deck? I haven't seen that one in action before. Is it actually fast enough to think of like a burn deck?
So this build is actually more combo-y, I guess, than some of the other builds. The main synergy here is, and it's actually pretty neat, is Mission Briefing Archive Trap. Unlike Snapcaster, you can Archive Trap for free from your graveyard. So it's more like kind of a control deck, and then all of a sudden they mill like 30-some cards in one turn, and you're just dead. So
yeah, it seems like it's a really good deck to have Surgical Extraction main in too. Like Surgical Extraction main seems like kind of a place you might want to be in Modern right now, and they get to do that.
Yeah, that's a big upside. And the Devoted Druid combo deck, I lose to that turn 3 all the time on Magic Online, so that's another fast one. So it should be interesting. I don't really like our matchups, honestly. I think we're probably not super favored in most of them, but that's why you play the games. We got fun stuff, and I'm hoping that we pull some of them off. So
now you mentioned the Devoted Druid combo deck. This Celestial Kirin. Did you guys look at the build Channel Fireball had last week? Because they took the Celestial Kirin Uga's Conjurant combo and they put it in a Devoted Druid shell, which is not really the way you guys went.
Yeah, this is more of a BAMP mid-range deck, really. Yeah, I did see the CFP deck, and I think it seemed really good. But I like the mid-range shell. It might be a little bit too fair. It's very matchup dependent. Like if you're playing a league on Magic Online and going to play 5 different decks, you got something for every matchup. But when you got to play Hogik and that's your one match with the deck, I'm a little bit nervous about that one. Okay, hopefully, I draw my one Bajuka Bog.
Oh wow, yeah. Here we see the deck on screen. So walk us through the highlights from your perspective.
Okay, so what the deck is, it's basically a BAMP mid-range deck, but the main combo, you play Celestial Kirin, and then Ugin's Conjurant is a spirit that you can cast for 0 mana, which blows up all the lands, so you kind of build your own Armageddon, essentially. And the biggest new addition from Modern Horizons is Eladrami's Call. This is a deck I was actually playing before Eladrami's card and messing around with like the new Vivian, Teferi's, other things in the slot to kind of generate card advantage. But Eladrami's Call, really good at finding the combo pieces, so efficient at doing that. So the deck is very consistent in blowing up the lands. Hopefully you have some Birds of Paradise, Noble Hierarchs, maybe a Knight of the Reliquary, and just kill your opponent with a couple of attacks, or can at least keep casting things with the Mana Dorks after you blow up all the lands. So that's the main plan, but it is a pretty fair deck when it comes to like for being an Armageddon deck where you're trying to blow up all your opponent's lands. That somehow feels a little fair in our current Modern format.
It's funny. Like I was at Wizards working in R&D when Celestial Kirin came out. There weren't any 0 mana spirits. It didn't need to say non-land on the card because there were no zeros in spirits or arcane. This was not a thing that existed.
Yeah, I assume if they were printing it today, it would say non-land, like, or one or more, like something.
If there had been an X casting cost spirit back then, we probably would have said non-land. But I don't know. I mean, like you say, though, the deck is actually kind of on the fair side in terms of what goes on in Modern right now. Maybe, I mean, it's kind of interesting that this combo exists, I think. I don't mind it that much. It doesn't feel like, oh, this egregious templating mistake or anything. It just feels like, oh, that's cute.
No, I mean, I think Modern is a format where you can have an Armageddon and it's kind of fine. And this is like Armageddon with some extra steps. You got to work for it a little bit if you want to blow up all the lands. So
I love watching chat do the same thing I did. What? It kills lands? Kirin and 0? All right, first match is ready. Let's go watch some Magic, see what happens. Round number 1. It's going to be Pleasant Kenobi on his Death and Taxes deck against Autumn Burchett on the Druid combo.
Ooh. Both players kind of have hands that don't look all that great. Autumn has one combo piece in Vizier of Druids.
Right.
And
But no
then,
way to get the other piece.
I mean, I guess at 4 mana, Finale of Devastation gets there, but that's a little slow. In Vince, his hand, I'm not sure. He has a Path, which is one of his best cards in this matchup. He wants that card in his opening hand so bad, but double Ether Vial and nothing less than 4 mana, a little bit clunky outside of the Path.
All right, he decided it was too clunky. Down to 6, still has a Path, but now he has a Thalia to go with it and a Scavenging Ooze.
When I was looking at this matchup, I was thinking, Thalia does not seem very good, but against the Finale of Devastation hand, like, it does something here, so. What do you think about the Postmortem Lunge, Randy? Have you seen this? It's like semi-new-ish tech in these decks. Do you think that's worth it in this style of deck?
I mean, I think you want a couple of cards that let you... I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's all too soon. It doesn't seem crazy to me. It seems like at some level, the real key for me is how interactive do you want to be versus how all in on the combo do you want to be, right? Do you want to be a bent mid-range deck with a combo finish, or do you want to be just a combo deck first that, occasionally plays a value game?
And I think this build definitely skews more on the combo end. We see a lot of ways to find combo pieces. So this is more, I guess, on the unfair end of Druid combo decks.
Right. And that, I mean, the lunge is in one of those flex slots in my mind where it just kind of depends which game you want to play.
So we see the Thalia from Vince. Autumn kind of flooding out a bit here. And the Finale is looking a little worse with the Thalia out. 5 mana. That's a lot. And even if they manage to find a Devoted Druid, the Path to Exile is still around. Ooh, Vince picks up a pretty powerful draw here in Leonin Arbiter. Being able to tax on the searching effects is actually pretty good against the Druid deck.
Yeah, I mean, Max Ghost Quarters in Kenobi's deck, that's the base combo that gets the card into the 60 in the first place. But you're right. Autumn has a lot of search effects.
Yeah, so it's kind of naturally good and somewhat in this matchup, even without the Ghost Quarters. So Autumn, I guess Autumn is looking for just pretty much anything. They can start turning Horizon Canopies into new cards at some point.
True.
So there's a bit more action in hand potentially than it looks. Ugh, another Finale. That's probably not the most ideal draw. Maybe, what do you think of Finale for 1 here, just to get like a Noble Hierarch or something?
It's not crazy. I mean, Thalia is doing work, right? Thalia is obviously turning those Finales down. And I mean, I guess you get to tap Horizon Canopies for mana. They're not under a ton of pressure, life total wise, but start tapping Horizon Canopies for mana, and suddenly you kind of are.
Yeah, that adds up.
I think they agree with you.
I mean, the other option is pass. That doesn't feel very good either. So, not how you want to spend your Finale, but if the other option is doing literally nothing, you got to do something.
I think that's right.
I'm kind of wondering why Pleasant Kenobi didn't play something last turn. I guess valuing leaving up the path through the Thalia made it so he couldn't also play a 2-drop.
That is what he chose to do, right? He left up a 2-mana Path to Exile instead of casting a 2-mana creature. He was only going to get to cast 1 spell either way, decided it was Path.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that line, just because with the Druid deck, if there is a Druid on the battlefield, you can die anytime to a Vizier Remedy. If there's a Vizier on the battlefield, the Druid's going to be summoning 6, so you kind of have a 1-turn window to path anyway, unless I'm missing something in Autumn's deck list. So I think
that's right. That's right.
Maybe it would have been correct to just run out something there and trust the path would would be their next turn.
All
So
right,
nice.
with Giver of Runes looming, Kenobi decides now is the time. He could have done that end step, I guess, if this was his plan.
I think, end step would have been probably fine. It is nice that the Leonin Arbiter did fizzle the land search there, so a little extra value. Yeah, Giver of Runes is pretty interesting in decks like this. If you're a creature deck that's looking to protect combo pieces, is a really good option in those decks. It's not Mother of Runes, I don't think, for fair decks, but in unfair decks, I mean, if it gets a removal spell, you're still winning that exchange most of the time for 1 mana.
Well, how is Autumn? Autumn's trying to figure out what they can do with this finale. But Leonid Arbiter plus Thalia.
Yeah, I think it's nothing. I guess maybe is there a Dryad Arbor in the deck list? Might be able to get that far.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
All right, yeah. It's Cycle Horizon Canopy time, I guess. The taxes! Oh, the taxes are kicking in!
And there's a second Arbiter that can come down, and these finales are not going to do much. And the damage is adding up. Giver of Runes, unlike Mother Runes, can't protect herself from in combat essentially. So no good blocks, and it's 3 turns until lethal damage. So if I'm Vince, I think I just run out both 2 drops. Just get on the board. I think that actually presents lethal potentially with the Stirring Wildwood next turn. I think try to close out this game as quickly as possible, or at least force the chump with the Giver of Runes.
Right, I was about to say that there's a chump block that stops it from being lethal, but maybe Stirring Wildwood means Autumn can't even chump to stay alive?
I think Autumn would need to find another creature removal spell. I think that would be 8 coming across if Vince just runs out both 2 drops here.
I wasn't thinking of this as that good of a matchup for the Taxes deck, because Autumn's got a creature-based combo deck. Thalia isn't supposed to be this good, right? Somehow Thalia and Leonin Arbiter are just insane.
Really, I think, I don't think this is necessarily a good matchup for Taxes. I think Autumn's just had a very, very awkward draw. They've drawn a ton of lands and also all these postmortem lunges with no creatures in the graveyard. So it's just been a very strange draw for the Druid deck. So Shalai is big. That means the Autumn is at least going to get 1 more turn, assuming there's not like a path or something off the top for Vince. But without a Devoted Druid on the battlefield, they still aren't very close to comboing off. Like, this still is a pretty rough situation, I think, for Autumn here. Yeah, might as well. You got extra mana, eat something. So this, what does Vince do here? The attack, 1 creature. I mean, I guess you can just swing with everything.
Yeah, I just think you turn them all sideways.
Yeah, and then Resto can potentially save whatever Shalai blocks.
Sure.
And then I'm not sure if there's a...
I mean, I think this would be the right attack even without the Resto Angel.
You got to get in the damage, yeah.
I mean, that's how you're winning the game. But with the Resto Angel, this looks actively good.
Yeah, it's even better with the Resto out. And
yeah, I don't know how Autumn survives another attack, and I don't know how they win next turn.
Yeah, I'm looking at Autumn's deck list, and one of the drawbacks of being kind of a all-in combo build of the deck is you don't really have a lot of the fair cards. There's not even Path to Exiles in the main deck. They're in the sideboard. So very focused on the combo plan, which makes it hard to catch up if you don't hit your combo pieces. So here's the Resto.
Yeah.
Saves the Ooze. And
thanks for the raid, Yellow Hat. Pamplemousse player Gabriel Nassif will be playing next week, by the way. We have we don't know what the whole round 2 schedule looks like yet, but we do know that next week is Pamplemousse versus Mage Market in the winners bracket.
Ooh. Yeah, I think Gab was working on his blue-white control deck on his stream recently.
What?
Tuning it up for next week.
Blue-white
Yeah,
control? Really?
who would have thought?
I'm shocked.
And wow, all right.
Yeah.
That's
Game one goes to the Brew Crew.
I'm a little surprised. Definitely
That
not
was on a mulligan
disappointed,
too, right?
yeah.
Vince mulliganed a clunky double Aether Vial draw into basically Path Thalia Arbiter.
Yeah, and was
That worked
still
out. Good mulligan.
Autumn pulling those post-mortem lunges out about as quickly as possible. That did not look super. And I think this is not a
that's true.
great matchup where Path is the main removal. Your combo pieces, if they're dying, they're getting exiled. So little less effective against Path decks.
Yeah, I think that's right.
From Vince's side,
I'm starting to see your point, though. The postmortem lunges, I'm not in love with it. Obviously, they look bad in that game, and they're going to look bad versus an opponent with Path. But there were also, like, the finales can get the creatures back from the graveyard, too. I don't know. How much do you really need to be able to search out of the graveyard? Are there just one-ofs that they're worried about losing access to? There aren't, right? It's 4 Vizier, 4 Devoted Druid.
Yeah, there's one Shalai and one Walking Ballista, but those are not cards you're super concerned with.
It's interesting. I don't feel like this build has been optimized yet. I mean, and we saw this last week, right? There were two very different Druid decks, both of which looked good. Like the combo is blisteringly fast enough to compete with the Hogak decks.
Yeah, I think that's true of a lot of modern decks right now. Is so much is in flux with Modern Horizons, and even War of the Spark wasn't that long ago, and that was another really impactful set. So I think there's a lot of decks that are 80%, 90% there right now, and people are still figuring out the last few slots or the last few synergies.
Definitely.
From Vince's side, I know he was bemoaning that he did not have a collector roof in his sideboard. He wanted one in there. He realized after he submitted decks, he was like, I probably should have had a collector roof in there. Was thinking it would be a good way to shut down the Walking Ballista part of the combo. Pretty effective way of stopping that. So I know that's one card he was hoping he would have that he didn't. Otherwise, Vince's sideboard, I don't know. Doesn't seem super, super great in this matchup. Well, Autumn has pretty much what you want. You got Vizier. There's also Eladrami's Call that can get the Devoted Druid, a backup Vizier. So the combo, unlike last game, where the combo pieces were just nowhere to be found, they are all essentially in hand already this game.
Well, not all of them. Like, sure, they can make infinite mana, but infinite mana doesn't actually win the game all by itself.
I
You
guess
actually
that's
have
true.
to sink it into something.
That's a good point. So still needs one more payoff. On Vince's side,
yeah, he capped. I think the Noble Hierarch makes that keepable. I think. I don't know. It's certainly not exactly disruptive.
yeah, I think that the Eldrazi Displacer can be good here, but Vince is lacking colorless mana at the moment. Ooh. Incubation Incongruity, another tutor, essentially, or pseudo tutor. So this looks like it could be maybe a turn 4 win if things go well on Autumn's side. And Vince doesn't have a way to stop it at the moment. Ooh. So there's the Druid.
Yeah, I don't know what they're playing around with the main phase Eladarmi's Call. It's probably something, but Call's an instant, right?
It is an instant. Here is the Arbiter, a turn too late, really, to fizzle the tutor. Shalai. So that's an extra layer of protection, but
not yet.
Yeah.
Okay. They're going to incubate here, not expose the Druid until, well, maybe we'll see. I guess you have to. So the Vizier next turn is infinite.
Well, with two Druids,
now it's easy.
Got to do it. Vince doesn't really hit anything here.
So Displacer breaks up the combo by flickering the Devoted Druid to give it summoning sickness, is the idea?
Yeah. But there's no colorless mana. So, but that is the main plan.
That's
is you
the
keep
idea.
The Druid summoning sick. Is so Shalai is sort of a payoff, but
That is true.
it's not the most guaranteed win. Like, it can make so Autumn here can cast the rest of their hand,
Yeah.
play Shalai, make all the creatures infinitely big. I didn't catch if Vince brought in like Settle the Wreckage. I guess that doesn't even matter with the Shalai out. So
I mean, every creature's going to be lethal, right?
yeah. So I think even though Vince will get to untap here technically, I think this Shalai is actually just game.
He doesn't have any kind of sweeper.
Yeah, a couple of Settle the Wreckages in the sideboard, but they don't actually work through Shalai anyway. So even if he did bring them in and draw them, still wouldn't get the job done. So infinite mana.
Right. And Vince, now we'll find out, is he looking at his deck list right now to see if he has any outs?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see
he is
any,
allowed to scoop here. I mean, I think the etiquette is demonstrate the kill, right?
Yeah. That's kind of my
All right,
and there's
and
the
there we go.
concession.
It's kind of perfect to see how the combo works, and yeah, the Shalai was indeed a good enough payoff.
And I mean, that's the power of the Druid deck. It is a pretty fast combo. It does sometimes struggle with removal, but it
So
can win the game very quickly.
Was turn 4, infinite mana, multiple infinitely large creatures to set up a turn 5 kill. Not the fastest draw.
No, it's actually kind of slow, I guess, to some extent for the deck, but fast enough.
Kenobi now has his choice of Hierarch or Vial on turn 1, presumably Vial. Thalia turn 2 on the play before any, well, I was going to say before any tutors get turned on, but incubation can happen.
Yeah. It will be nice to slow down the call, I guess, but I think that's the challenge of this matchup from our side is the taxes deck, while it's good at taxing, a little light on real removal. You got the Path Exiles, but it's not like Mardu Pyromancer or a control deck where you just have a ton of answers. You have a lot of taxing effects, but not that many hard answers to the combo pieces.
Sounds right.
So let's see what Autumn finds here. Well, that is the combo piece. So
is this turn 3?
This is a turn 3 kill, I believe, because the
Does Autumn even need a land?
No, I don't believe so. The Duskwatch Recruiter is in hand, so that finds the Walking Ballista, or there's a Finale of Devastation now as well. So Vince has a turn to draw Path Exile. Well, yeah, I think it's Path Exile. I'm not sure what else could be drawn. I guess can get another look with the Canopy. That's a Noble Hierarch. That's not going to do it. If the Vial was up to 3, the Flicker Wisp could.
I was looking at that. Flicker Wisp can. It's one turn by giving Devoted Druid back summoning sickness.
But yeah,
Vial's on 2.
And exiling it now doesn't do much because it comes back into turn. So I think. Oh, actually, because of the Thalia, Vince can't even cast a path if he draws it because his land is the Stirring Wildwoods, the one of Stirring Wildwoods. So I think this might just be game.
Autumn could, in theory, path the Thalia, but why would they?
I mean, I guess Vince's line is to just leave his mana up and bluff, run out the Hierarch, leave up path mana, and
he's representing path. I don't know if he had path though. He would just cast it main phase before the Druid lost summoning sickness. or he would respond to a Vizier.
Yeah, it's hard for me to imagine that Autumn won't go for it. I don't see the upside. And there is a Vizier, and that is a combo, and there are multiple win conditions in hand. And this is about as fast as it gets for the Druid deck. The turn 3 infinite mana with a finisher in hand.
Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead.
I love how the Knight of Autumn showed up on the last turn to watch.
Yeah.
Perfect, right?
Yep. Perfect timing. And so this is more how I imagine the matchup to go. I'm impressed that we got a game out of this matchup, but this is more
that
how
first
I
game
imagine
looked
this would go.
great for your side.
Yeah, that one did look good. Here's the crack. Oh, please don't be a path just to rub it in. Okay. Vince is gonna get his money's worth as this combo happens. Try to at least. Oh, and I expect that the concession will be happening here shortly.
I mean, at this point, Autumn can just go off at instant speed, though, right? He let the Duskwatch resolve, so
yeah, I guess that's
infinite
true.
mana, infinite searching. So if you haven't seen that, the Duskwatch Recruiter is 3 mana. Look at the top. What is it? 3 cards of your library and pick a creature. So once you've got all the mana you could possibly want, you can just go through the deck, find the Walking Ballista. That's then the easiest kill from infinite mana. Druid deck looks great right now. I mean, if you're just going by Team Modern Super League, it's the Druid deck that seems like Modern Horizon fueled combo madness. Hogak is like 0-2 so far. Druid is 3-0 now.
Yeah. I think it's legitimately one of the best decks in Modern right now, the Druid combo deck. It is really climbed up the ranks in the last few weeks. So, well, hopefully the problems for Hogak continue, because I got to play it twice tonight. So I'm rooting at the 0-2 streak.
You got paired against it both times?
Yeah, I got the double Hogak night. So.
All right, well, that is score 1 for the Scary Pterrys. They are up 1, but it's best 4 out of 7. We still got lots of Magic to play, lots of sweet decks to look at. Coming up next, it's going to be Megan Wolf against Caleb Durward. It's going to be Mono Red Phoenix against that Jund Footfalls deck that I am particularly excited to see in action. Any thoughts? Is that another bad matchup for you guys, or is that one seems okay?
I think it's okay. The Jund deck, it's going to be okay against everything. I think it's probably not the best matchup we could have had, but I think it'll be a relatively like 50-50-ish matchup.
All right, don't go anywhere. We will be right back with more Team Modern Super League.
CoolStuffInc.com is your home for everything Magic the Gathering. Need singles for constructed or kitchen table play? Looking to pick up some sealed product or the latest in Magic accessories? We've got you covered with our extensive live inventory. With free shipping on orders of $100 or more, a 25% buy list bonus, and our ever-popular customer rewards program, CoolStuffInc.com is the place for all your Magic the Gathering needs.
Hello and welcome back to the Modern Super League. I'm Vince, also known as Pleasant Kenobi on the internet, and I'm joined by Autumn, who just gave me a quite good seeing you in Modern. Did you have to kill me on turn 3? Could you have not waited?
Did you have anything to do on turn 4?
I can't actually remember what was in my hand. I had a threat. I had like another beater. I was just going to hit you with 3/3s and hope that was enough. I kept a really risky hand in game 2 where I was just like, well, I've won game 1, so I can run a risk, right? No, that was not good.
I kept a very sketchy hand game 1. I was like, so I figured I mainly lose to your deck if you have the mana denial stuff, and I kept a really hand that was really heavy on mana and lacking in action on that basis, and it did not pan out. But
yeah, well, like I thought I was playing really efficient in the game. I was like, my hand's terrible. I need an Arbiter mulligan. In game 2, I didn't mulligan to Arbiter. I was like, I can hit them with 3/3s. It'll be fine. That's not the case at all. And then when you made the board full of creatures and started pumping the Shalai, I was like, oh, I guess they do have a kill there, so I guess I should scoop that up. Hopefully Caleb can redeem my team after me trying to play that fair game of Magic against very unfair stuff. So I think Caleb is playing Crashing Footfalls Jund.
This deck is really sweet. It has a combo kill.
So talk me through the combo kill. I'm not gonna lie, I've been traveling. I'm in the States right now, so I've left them to deal with the decks. I'll play green taxes. You guys just sort everything else out. So what is exactly the combo kill?
So the combo kill is you go turn 2 Arcanist, turn 3 Lily, tick up Lily, discard your Crashing Footfalls, and attack with your Arcanist.
And then you get a load of power, and then you just hit them again, and they're dead.
Then you get to die with 4/4s in play instead of 3/3s.
Oh, I see. Because so Megan is on mono red Phoenix. Do you think this is better than the blue red version?
I think it's different. They attack from very different axes, right? The blue red list is looking to be like play this more like mid-rangey kind of interactive game and has a combo-y element, whereas the mono red version is just all out aggression. It's like a pseudo burn deck. It's almost like a mono red prowess deck as well. You've got all these.
Is there a reason you picked the mono red over the blue red?
We just wanted to go like hyper linear on y'all this week.
I noticed.
We were like the Brew Crew. They're going to be durdling around with these cute Flicker Wisp decks.
I put forward blue black mill actually, ironically. So when I saw that you had picked blue black mill, I was like, oh, I wish we had picked blue black mill as well. But yeah. So do you think that red Phoenix is favored against Rhino Jund?
I have no idea how this plays out. I think so. Like, part of my concern is the creature packet. The cheap creatures seem really bad against Jund.
Yeah.
Relying on this deck really relies on Swift Spear and Soul Scar Mage for its early damage.
Sure.
And a deck like with Lightning Bolts and Fatal Pushes and even discard spells to take them, it lines up very well against that portion of the deck. But the Phoenixes are really hard for Jund to remove.
Of course.
Especially if we look at this list, it only has the 2 Scavenging Oozes.
Yes. Well, I was surprised when Caleb said he was doing well with Jund in current Modern. I was like, are you sure, Caleb? And then when I saw only 2 Scoozes as well, I was like, okay, because like I only cut down this week to try and fit in some new cards like Giver of Runes for my deck because Scoozes has been so good lately. But I guess, yeah, the traditional Jund plan of going 1-for-1 against creatures is good until we get to Phoenix, where Phoenix is like, well, you can't really go 1-to-1 with me. Some of your removal doesn't even touch me. And then also attacks over everything that Caleb is bringing to the field as well. Hopefully Caleb can put more power into play than they can. I guess is the game plan for the Rhinos. I hope so. You do not.
So, yeah, my expectation is the games that really revolve around the 1-drop creatures, the Phoenix deck's going to struggle to push through. There's also just Tarmogoyf. Tarmogoyf just blocks these really well too. But then the games that are about the spells and the Phoenixes, I think the Phoenix deck is going to be favored. So kind of depends which way the draws break there.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'd love to see Jund do well again. No, I need to have faith. I believe in Caleb. I believe in the Goyf deck. Maybe this is the time for Goyf to come back, perhaps, now that no one's expecting it.
So I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see how this plays out. It's not.
I really hope we at least see some Rhinos in play at some point during the match. Because there's not enough Rhinos in Modern. And also, it'd be nice to see one of the new cards get played. I mean, you got to go and search up for Giver of Runes, which gave me a bit of a heart attack. I was like, well, I've only got one removal spell. So I need to draw my Ewit or another removal spell pronto, but end up being okay.
Giver of Runes is such a nice addition to Modern. I'm really excited about that card. Like, I know a friend of mine's been running it in Infect.
Yeah, I've heard that. Like green white infect is the way to go now, which is pretty absurd. And like, I played mono white D&T and actually 5-0 with it because I kept playing games where I just play one of my 4 giver of runes, then play an arbiter, where I was being greedy and trying to play all these green cards I probably shouldn't be trying to play. But yeah, being able to protect your disruptive creatures or your blighted agents. I don't know. I guess the green white Wolves doesn't play that. Was your friend playing green white or were they playing Bant?
She was just playing. I've seen her play Bant and Green White, and you can go a couple of different directions. Like if you play Green White, you have to play Icoclormia, but because of the Giver of Runes, your Icoclormia can actually still hit them quite easily.
Right, of course. Yeah, because I guess you're losing the unblockable of the blighted agent, but in reality, you've still got the Giver of Runes to push it through. Yeah. So maybe it's time for Infect to come back. I mean, like Fatal Push and the loss of Probe was a problem. But then if our teams are playing that deck and we're talking about it now, so maybe it is, who knows? I mean, you mentioned about like hand disruption, but again, like, although there is 4 Inquisition, there's 6 disruption spells. So yeah, we are. This is very traditional Jund. Apart from we're trying to either cascade randomly into Rhinos or discard them and get them back with Dreadhorde Arcanist. Is there any in? Oh, go on. Sorry.
The Rhinos also work with Bloodbraid Elf too. That's really nice. 4 mana for 11 power.
Also, but then you can also just hit a Thoughtseize or Inquisition when their hand's empty. That's the that's the problem with Jund, I guess. What's the new tech in your mono red deck then for the new set?
So in the mono red deck, we have a couple new things. One is we have Lava Dart, which is a really cool addition. Partially because it just tears apart opposing boards if they have excellence. The other thing is it's so good with prowess creatures. For 1 mana, you get 2 prowess triggers. If you have 2 prowess creatures out, then your 1 mana is converting into essentially 6 damage.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing 2 to the face, getting 4 triggers. It's like huge, so efficient. It's also really good with Phoenix, and it's really good with Faithless Looting. You can just pitch that Lava Dart, leave it in the yard, and later in the game, when you're lacking on stuff to do and you maybe have an extra land or 2, you can sack the land to return a Phoenix. It's really, really
I guess
good.
in mono red version, it's like plentiful mountains. So I've seen some people complaining that the initial builds of blue red didn't have enough mountains necessarily. So like they're like not playing the fast lands and stuff to make more mountains to make sure they can lava it up. But I guess you don't have that problem here.
Yeah.
And then you've got Sunbaked Canyon as well, haven't you? For the everyone gets a Horizon Canopy now. Not a unique card anymore.
Like,
is that the match coming up? Yes.
Awesome.
Are we seeing from Megan's perspective? Yes, we are. Okay, cool.
So Megan doesn't have the 1-drop threat, but does have a looting to dig for 1.
Right, okay.
And on Caleb's side, Caleb mulled to 6. He's got a bit of a rough 6. Just the 2 Inquisitions. Really needs to find a green source for this pair of Tarmogoyfs.
If there was a green source there, would you think that hand's pretty good against the Red Phoenix deck?
I don't think it'd be great, but I do think Tarmogoyf's quite good against the prowess creatures. And I do think Jund kind of needs to be the aggressor in the matchup after a point. You need to like slow the early offense and then turn the corner before Phoenix
you're not the beat down, you're the control role for the most part.
I think the Jund list has to control the early game and then turn the corner, which is always how Jund's worked in Modern, really.
He's drawn the green source.
Ooh, probably scried that to the top.
Better to be lucky. Right. So how early is the mono red Phoenix deck firing off the light up the stage? Are we talking early or later when you can make use of the spells with your mana?
Basically, whenever it fits in. It is very convenient that a lot of the spells are very cheap. So unless you hit a Phoenix...
We're not going to see it because he took it with the Inquisition.
Ooh, this Swift Spear is nice though. This is what Megan needed to start getting some pressure going. It's gonna struggle against the Tarmogoyf though. There's no clear way to break through the Tarmogoyf quite yet.
And again, you're not going to fire off your spells for priority triggers yet because you want to Faithless into Phoenixes?
She's probably just waiting to, like, if she draws a land from the Manamorphose, then she can get some prowess triggers going, and like the Manamorphose makes it that much easier to set up a Phoenix that you discard and return it.
Sure.
Also,
double Inquisition from Caleb this turn.
Having the Swift Spear in play like this means that if the Swift Spear isn't killed and she draws a light up the stage, suddenly that's an amazing draw that digs for some lands, really gets the engines turning.
Very off center for some reason. So we could Inquisition took Lava Spike and a Manamorphose.
Yeah, but there's the light up the stage I was talking about. That's an amazing hit for Megan. It helps her build up.
for post-combat. Okay.
Yeah, have to get in the damage first.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you'd enable it with gut shot or not, but I guess.
Mhm.
And then you hold the bolt for next turn. Yeah.
So that light up the stage was huge. She just really needed some resources to work with here, and this is a great start in that direction.
These Tarmogoyfs line up quite well against this burn at the moment, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I thought the ground creatures would really struggle in this sort of matchup. The Phoenixes can't really be blocked by Caleb's deck,
Of course.
but unless you have some absurd Manamorphose turns, the ground creatures get bricked pretty well by Tarmogoyf, as we're currently seeing.
So, do you think with the moderated Phoenix deck, your best bet is to mulligan to Phoenix, or do you just take your prowess hands where you can?
So, because of cards like Faithless Looting and Manamorphose, you can kind of help yourself dig to the Phoenixes. The same with Light Up the Stage. Light Up the Stage isn't as good as digging to Phoenixes because you kind of need to have built up your mana.
Sure.
But
I mean, if you hit a Phoenix off Light Up the Stage and you can't cast it, it's just gone.
But I don't think you need the Phoenixes in your opening hand. You have that ability to dig. That's like really a big part of why Faithless Looting is so good in these decks. It's very good at digging you towards these payoffs.
So we saw Megan drop Manamorphose and Soulscar Mage with a Faithless Looting and keep the Spike and the Gut Shot.
So let's see. She can bolt down this Goyf here if Caleb blocks, which means Caleb doesn't want to block. Now,
yeah, I don't like a block here because there's just too much at stake. That said, he does have a second Goyf in hand, so
yeah. Oh, okay. So I would have quite liked if she fired off the bolt and the gut shot there. That would have been how many points?
That would have been
6, essentially.
Yeah.
Essentially, Caleb
perhaps there was a misclick there on not firing the bolt, perhaps, unless. And then we've got Tarmogoyf slamming in, crunching in for 4. I mean, Caleb is out of gas. There is that, and the red deck probably has a lot more reach in terms of cards it can draw to give you more gas.
We also have the third land for some Faithless Lootings here, which can hopefully help dig towards some Phoenixes, maybe.
Okay, 2 mountains. I must ask you what the best draw here is, but I don't think 2 mountains is it.
I think like the best thing there would have been finding like a Phoenix and a Manamorphose. So you get to ditch the Phoenix to the yard, and then your Manamorphose allows you to hit the sort of spell count you need to actually start returning the Phoenixes.
Sure.
So
you mentioned our hand attack in our pre-game talk. We might have been quite good against the prowess draw.
Yes.
Caleb has drawn 4 Inquisitions, followed by 2 Goyfs. That's it, nothing else. His Gen deck has played nothing but Goyfs and Inquisitions, and it seems to have done. Megan, it's matched up very well with what she's drawn.
Isn't that what John's meant to be on a good day?
Yes, just hand attack and huge Goyfies. Is this a finale of Promise? Does this do anything here? Because there's no Phoenixes in the bin for those watching at home, so it doesn't bring back any Phoenix.
There is a Faithless Looting, so you could go Finale of Promise, Faithless Looting, Lava Spike, put you to 12, dig 2, and then if you find 2 Phoenixes, Caleb actually dies.
Okay,
right? Because you get free prowess triggers.
So I guess we see here how ridiculously explosive this deck can be. Because
do you only need 1 Phoenix?
If we see this is going to be incredible.
The other question is if we have lethal. I guess we should probably check that. So you hit Lava Spike and there's Forked Bolt. We don't have another Lava Spike, do we? I can't.
But we need to cast the Faithless to dig anyway, right? Oh, do you mean lethal without the Faithless? You mean?
I was trying to figure it out.
So Gutshot takes him to 14. Finale gets 3 prize triggers here.
Oh, you can't do 2 sorceries. Okay. So if you do Lava Spike
and Gutshot,
that is okay. She's going for the Faithless Looting. She needs to hit Phoenixes, I believe.
Okay, that seems like a fair enough line when you're up against the wall like this. Okay, it makes perfect sense. So, get some prowess triggers on the Swift Spear. Swift Spear is now bigger than a Tarmogoyf. No! No Phoenixes! No, okay. I mean, to be fair, as a dominating force as Inquisition seemed, Megan isn't far from killing Caleb here. Like, there was definitely potential.
Yeah, how much would the Swift Spear be? It would have been attacking for like
It was a 5/6, I
5.
believe.
Yeah. All right, has to jump a Goyf. I don't know. Don't know how Megan gets out of this one, honestly, at this point.
So Metamorphose into Faithless. Is that where we're at?
Yeah,
Now?
it's probably just the only out here is returning 2 Phoenixes. And
Yes.
it's very
Even then,
unlikely to head that way.
it's not winning. It's just prolonging. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So a quadruple Inquisition into double with 2 Goyfs along for the ride was good enough to take down Mono Red Phoenix at the moment.
Mhm.
So what sideboard tech does Mono Red Phoenix have for Jund?
So that is a good question. It seems like Megan's bringing in some of the shrines because they're very much harder to kill than the actual critters.
Sure. I
Um,
love Shrine of Burning Rage. The inevitability is mad. It's a scary magic
Mhm.
card.
It's also
And Blood Moon too, right?
yeah. The Blood Moons are really nice against Jund's mana base, especially now that Caleb's got these like fancy, peatlands and stuff. Really does a number on it.
Gone are the days of the Jund players playing Blood Moon in their sideboards, even though somehow that was never correct in the first place.
So on Caleb's side, we're actually seeing he's ignoring the ley lines, which I think is pretty smart.
Yeah.
Phoenix.
So for people at home, why do you think that? Because I've seen a lot of people talk about how even Rest in Peace is too slow, Leyline is too slow for the Phoenix decks. Why would you say that?
So Mono Red Phoenix is a deck that can return Phoenixes for these explosive draws, but ultimately at its core, it's a burn deck.
Sure.
And
even the blue-red one, for that matter, right? I mean,
the blue-red one's more of like a mid-range deck. The blue-red one, you've got this mid-range plan of Thing in the Isis, Crackling Drakes. You can play a card like Saheeli.
Leyline of the Void is embarrassing against Crackling Drake.
Yes, it's embarrassing against those cards. So against the mid-range versions, you have to be really weak to the Phoenix plan and really confident that you're never losing a game to Thing in the Ice before you board in Leyline of the Void against Blue-Red Phoenix.
Of course.
Against the mono-red version, it's essentially a burn deck. And the games where like they go Swift Spear, spike Q, light up the stage, get all the burn turning. Sure, they aren't able to have the explosive Phoenix draws, but they can still run you over with the burn draws.
Yeah, of course.
So
yeah, I mean, you see people sideboarding in this like heavy graveyard hate for these decks because they see them as graveyard combo decks. But those turns, although they exist and although they can happen, that's not necessarily their primary game plan, or the way that you'll die to them either. I've died to more Thing in the Ices over the last couple of months than I have to Phoenixes, that's for sure.
Caleb's hand is pretty unexciting. He's got double Inquisition to eat through some threats.
Very well last game, but Megan now has 3 threats, not 1.
Yeah. So the big problem with Caleb's hand is he doesn't have a threat himself. He's looking to draw one before Megan develops her side too much.
We've also got an interesting lineup here of where there's a Maelstrom Pulse in Caleb's hand. So if he gets the correct amount of information from Inquisition and the sequences go right for him, he can bag himself 2 Soulscar Mages, which might be enough to 2 for 1 that if he draws a threat, he could pull ahead quite significantly.
That is true. The Pulse is going to line up very well against these Soulscar Mages, except Megan's probably going to lead on Swift Spear.
Yeah.
To get in the early, first point of damage. If she does that, then he has to take like a burn spell with the first Inquisition. Okay, she leads with this makes some amount of sense. Leads with the Soulscar Mage. Sure. The thinking on this is you can play this if you can play the Swift Spear and then just get some Prowess triggers next turn if you want.
Sure.
Immediately start the Prowess triggers on.
But Soulscar obviously lines up a lot better with giving all your cards Wither, or a version of Wither, against Tarmogoyfs and other big dudes and dudettes as well. So.
Yes, Tarmogoyf, as we saw that the last game, really problematic for this Mono Red Phoenix deck because your bolts can't clear it out the way and it blocks your prowess creatures so well. But with a Soulscar Mage in play, you get to go, okay, your 4/5 is actually a 2/3, so my 3/4 now eats it in combat.
Magic becomes way more maths than I want it to be. When Megan played the second Soulscar, Caleb shifted his hand. I thought he was going to start moving the Maelstrom Pulse to further to the left side. He wasn't, but I thought that would be pretty funny. So we've got the second Inquisition now.
Yeah.
Taking, I assume, the Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, it has to be the Bolt.
The Love Dot makes not a huge amount of sense because for the main reason you get to flash it back as well. So you're not even getting huge amounts of value out of it.
You get to flash it back and it's just less damage up front. Whereas if Megan untapped over the bolt, she'd just fire it off quite happily.
Bedlam Reveler's a very good draw here.
Kind of. She hasn't had any Manamorphose or Faithless lootings yet, right?
Sure. So its cost is currently reduced by 2. And I thought further one from the Lava Dart, so it will cost is it 8 usually? So it's going to cost
8. Yeah.
5 total, which is actually 5 is a million miles away from 2 lands. So perhaps we need some more gas. Here comes the pulse.
Oof. Poor Soul Scar mages.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay.
I mean, we're just hoping to build towards this Reveler
Sure.
before Caleb draws into a threat, right?
So, I mean, once upon a time, Reveler would have been a difficult card for John to deal with, and it's still not the easiest, but Assassin's Trophy in place of Abrupt Decay and similar now, or I guess in place of Old Terminate. So
Surgical's not great here.
So he's drawing I think he's digging for a threat here.
Yeah, he has to. This is like one of the big things about Jund, right? The all interaction hands. Like, Jund can't just sit there doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
All game long, because a lot of these modern decks are like built to have inevitability in some regard in that sort of scenario. Even in this case, burn spells have inevitability against 20 life.
You have those games with Jund where you sit there and feel like you're miles ahead and you're winning, but if you don't close out, you just die.
Yeah.
Die to infinite mana, perhaps, Autumn, or like Shalai's making your boards infinitely huge. So Monstrous Fistpit eats a bolt, so the 1-for-1 counter. Oh, here it is.
Ooh, that's a slow threat though. So Crashing
takes 4 turns.
Crashing Footfalls is clearly this like very swingy card, right? The draws where you go Arcanist, Liliana, discard my Footfalls, attack, get 2 rhinos, it's
definitely
unbeatable. And the games where you cascade into it is quite strong, but
well, at the moment, Caleb's going to get 2 rhinos on, is it turn 9 or 10? Now, I mean, I've played quite a bit of Modern, and I just feel that might be a tad bit too slow. We've got 3 or 4 more games of Modern done in that time.
I've had some limited decks that would like that. I don't know.
So again, though, he's not drawing any more action or any more threats. Meanwhile, he's on 9, and Megan is how far off crossing this Reveler?
I think she should fire off this Lava Dart, because then if she draws a land, she can Revel. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, if she fires off the Lava Dart here and draws a land,
it has no value aside from perhaps killing a Liliana if he was down ticket. But again, that's not what he'd be doing. Well, no, that's not what he'd be doing. He'd be upticking Liliana.
In fact,
so she is firing off the Lava Dart as Ed steps. That's good.
It's better than land. Manamorphose or Faithless Looting both enable the Reveler almost certainly.
Sure, yeah, of course.
Yeah, so there's
is it a Reveler turn? No, that's possibly the biggest brick, I think, for Reveler here.
Okay, this is really smart from Caleb. He sees that there's the potential for Reveler this turn, so he's going to surgical a spell.
Is he getting? What was the target? I can't see.
It's one of the burn spells. I believe it's. I think it's Lava Spike. Okay, so all the spikes now out of the deck. There's even 2 in the yard. So that means this Reveler is now miles off being cast. There's this Phoenix in Megan's hand. If she draws a land, gets the Phoenix down, it eats trophy, but that land gets her so close to the Reveler then.
Yeah, of course. Don't forget, for those at home as well, that we got access to deck lists ahead of time. So not only is Caleb getting a very good read there, but he also does know that Megan's playing the Reveler. And he's drawn a Tarmogoyf.
That's maybe the best draw in Caleb's deck.
It's only a 4/5 at the moment, so
I guess
it is
Blood Braid, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's gonna kill her relatively slowly. And there's a Shrine of Burning Rage, which does definitely kill people. I've seen that happen many a time since it was in Standard.
Oh, Caleb saw the Reveler with Inquisition as well on turn 2.
Oh, yeah, so we're thinking he's playing smart, thinking about deck lists. In reality,
I mean, it's still a smart play, right?
Of course.
Cut her off.
If this elf hits some rhinos, are we seeing more rhinos? No, that's still pretty good. I mean, that also pads his life total quite a bit as well.
Yeah, I think that Scavenging Ooze is probably just lights out now, because it kind of shuts off this Reveler, it shuts off this any Phoenix recursion.
And there are currently 4 creatures in Megan's bin, so across the next turn is virtual life total 12.
Yeah. It's also the life gain is really good against this pseudo burn deck.
Okay, well, Megan's got Phoenix Mana now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a big old board state on the other side of the board as well.
There are some large critters. All right, so she's gonna cast this Phoenix. Can she even attack? I guess she can just about attack.
4, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Yeah.
11, 12, 13. So there's 12 down to the side of the board because by the time Caleb eats all the creatures, his Goyf would shrink. So he doesn't have lethal. But then all he needs is a removal spell for the Phoenix.
Does the Assassin's Trophy get him far enough?
Well, it'll kill the Phoenix and put his Goyf back up to a 4 again. So yeah, I think even if he... Oh, actually, he hasn't got off green source. I don't know how his mana base is configured. I'm going to look. So I'm assuming Bloodstained Mar can probably get a 4th green source here. I would assume. It'd be pretty crazy if he can't. So yeah, I think he has lethal on board if Megan attacks. Or doesn't attack even.
Yeah. It's just lethal regardless, I believe.
Yeah, he can also eat an end step, untap, and eat some more as well. That Scavenger Ooze is hungry. It's hungry to punch face, and I think it...
Scavenging Ooze just desperate to eat through this yard.
It continues to be one of the best 2-drops ever printed. It's
such
pretty good.
Modern too.
Once upon a time when it was just a commander card that they hadn't thought about testing for Eternal formats.
All right, so we're gonna see Caleb grow the Scavenging Ooze. I assume he sees the line to.
Oh, hang on. What turn is this? Oh, this is turn 9. So we're seeing rhinos as well.
Oh, wow, these rhinos
Oh
have
my
come right in
goodness.
time.
I mean, they haven't got haste, but we did see some rhinos. So my request has been accepted by the gods. Like, is Caleb, and he said, "Yeah, okay, we can have some rhinos." I know it's going to kill the Arclight Phoenix.
Look at these powerful 4/4s. They're adorable.
I mean, they've done so much work this game. I'd hazard to say if he hadn't drawn, perhaps the morale might have been quite low.
Yep.
And I mean, Jund is really doing Jund things here. Everything has died.
Mm-hmm.
What dies grows the Tarmogoyf and all the Skoos, and or allows rhinos to come to the party.
Jade would be proud. All right.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely more than... Yep, there we go. Xaxis, actually. It's not lethal, it's Xaxis. Okay, well, so John did. So he redeemed me. I'm sorry, Autumn. You really wrecked me, and now Caleb's like, well. So, but were you expecting that? So when you saw the matchups, were you expecting Mono Red Phoenix to do so? Were you happy to see Phoenix against Jund?
I wasn't super happy, just because you've got that early disruption for the small creatures. And the Goyfs and Scavenging Oozes are so good at helping you both turn the corner, block well. Skoos can kind of deal with a lot of the stuff that deck has going on with the graveyard. So I wasn't super happy with it, but it seemed like a winnable matchup. You still have the burn plan, which sometimes Jund can't quite deal with.
Yeah, you have the explosive games, but burn can sometimes take down Jund as well.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, unfortunately, his hand attack and his big old Goyfies. Maybe Goyf Day is yet to come. Maybe Goyf is going to make a return, all thanks to Caleb and his Rhino deck.
Maybe this is the beginning of Rhinos taking over Modern.
Yeah, like the Goyf Rhino deck. I mean, big green creatures have always been a strategy in Modern, right? Like, there's not really any big green creature decks, so maybe this is it. Maybe there's one for the Tinnies out there.
So up next, we have some Emma against Saffron Olive.
Yes.
It's pretty exciting. Hogak against Bantgeddon.
Yes, so Seth is playing quite the brew.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking through these decks now, or are we handing over to someone else to talk about? Okay, we're going to cut to ads, we've been told. But thank you for joining us. And we'll see you soon. We're going to jump to some ads now, and we'll be right back with more Modern Super League, with some spicier decks, and also the format Bogeyman as well.
CoolStuffInc.com is your home for everything Magic the Gathering. Need singles for constructed or kitchen table play? Looking to pick up some sealed product or the latest in Magic accessories? We've got you covered with our extensive live inventory. With free shipping on orders of $100 or more, a 25% buy list bonus, and our ever-popular customer rewards program, CoolStuffInc.com is the place for all your Magic the Gathering needs.
Hey everybody, welcome back. What's up, Caleb?
Howdy.
That was a match that happened that we just played.
Yeah.
I feel like it happened to me as opposed to me really truly experiencing it.
Yeah, I can see that. I wanted to play Jund because I put you folks on some creature-based aggro deck, so I wanted to have that really efficient removal and hopefully it would pan out.
It was very efficient. That Maelstrom pulse in game 2, I was like,
yeah,
well,
that was filthy. Filthy.
There goes that game.
You can't even plan for that. You're just like, this is good, and this is usually too slow, but it's good here. Awesome.
Yep, exactly. I remember, in fact, I had been looking at the sideboard for that Jund deck, and I was like, okay, if I play out a bunch of creatures, is there like a surprise Anger of the Gods or something that's going to get me? And I was like, okay, there's a Maelstrom Pulse maybe in the world. And there it was.
Right. Very fortunate on my part.
Yeah. So, but that deck was sick.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all's Jund deck, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I didn't get any Arcanists going, but well.
I know, I am sad that I didn't get to
some
see
regular old boring Jund games.
I mean, that's kind of how I felt about the mono red game that I was playing. Whereas I look at the deck, I'm not traditionally a mono red player at all. But I was like, okay, like I can bring back some Arclight Phoenixes. I can cast some Light Up the Stages and draw some cards. The number of times that I've forgotten to cast an exiled card off Light Up the Stage is very embarrassing and very high.
Oh no! Oh dear!
I think like as soon as it's over there, I'm just like, yeah, this is always my card. I can play it forever, right? No, it's not how that card works.
I think the first few times I played that card, I made that mistake. I think I did that as well.
Like I said, not classically a red player, but I looked at this deck over the weekend and I was like, this is really cool. I very much enjoy this take on red. Yeah.
And the draws that you have that are good against Jund tend to be like super burn heavy. So that's what I was worried about. I was worried about and both of my openers didn't have a removal spell for a 1-drop. So I was like, well, I could just die. I don't know.
Yep. All of those Inquisitions, I was like, you should at least have the dignity of having to pay life to take away cards from my hand.
One of these should be a Thoughtseize by now. Come on.
Exactly. Another
four Inquisitions, 2 Tarmogoyfs, no other cards.
Exactly. It panned out really well. At first I was like, double swamp. Maybe this is going to be okay. Never mind. That's a Tarmogoyf. and it is enormous.
I think if you'd had your game 2 hand against my game 1 hand, you might have just ran me over.
Yeah.
Because you had so many like fast 1-drops and I had no removal at all in game 1.
Yeah, my game 1 hand was awkward and I almost considered mulliganing it. I mean, like I said, you Inquisitioned it, so you saw it. But it didn't have 1-drops, but it had like Light Up the Stage, gut shot, and I think a faithless looting. And so I was like, okay, this is very close to being something that I would throw back, and maybe I should have, knowing that I needed to get off the ground so quickly against your deck. But at the same time, it just kind of felt gross to throw that hand back when it felt like it could have very easily turned into a very good hand.
You could have popped off, exactly. And I don't think that deck mulligans very well. So I 100% would not have mulled that. I think people who would be maybe less familiar with Mono Red Phoenix might have Inquisitioned and been like, oh, they only have 1 land. We should take this Faithless Looting. Yeah. But I mean, Gut Shot and Light Up the Stage is going to hit your land drops way better without like being card disadvantage. Whereas if you cast the Faithless Looting, now you're down another card. So even if you're hitting your land drop, now you don't have spells to cast with that land drop. So
yeah, exactly. When you took that Light Up the Stage, I was like, oh, that was very clever on your part. And rough for me for sure. So coming up next, we're gonna finally get to see the Hogak deck in action.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
And it's not. Yeah. It's it's not pretty. Hogak is in fact disgusting to look at.
It kind of reminds me of Hulk Flash. I don't know if I'm supposed to admit that out loud, but it does remind me of Hulk Flash. Earlier in the commentary, they were saying that like you can't just not bring this deck too. And like a very Hulk Flash sort of sentiment, like, oh, I just got to do this.
Exactly. And I mean, to be fair, I feel like it's still, even though it is so good right now and it's popping up just all over the place, we haven't, had a chance to see it really go wild in Super League yet. So,
yeah,
we'll stand by that. But anyways, every time I look at Hogak, it's just like, oh, that's a creature made of graveyard stuff, bodies, other gross things.
Yeah. it's very difficult to actually commit enough slots to beating it.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of ridiculous draws where like turn 2 rest in peace isn't fast enough, where
Yep.
ley line's not good enough because they just have the nature's claim and they kill you on turn 2 anyway. Just nightmare stories, multiple surgical extractions, not close.
Yeah,
Anyway.
exactly. And Maria and I were talking about this yesterday, where it was just like, oh, the fact that if it was just having to attack you, okay, maybe that would be okay. But the fact that it has the out of also milling you, if for some reason attacking you just like isn't a viable option, is really, I think, what helps put it over the edge.
And
For
it does it
sure.
on the same turn, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Against Dredge, you can like play an Anger of the Gods, but Anger of
Yeah.
the Gods doesn't do anything against this deck because you're dead. They've milled
Yeah.
you.
Exactly. Everything is gone already. I was playing it for the first time last week in the office, and Maria was like sitting next to me, doing stuff on her computer, and she just looks over because I was just like wildly cackling on the very first game that I had ever played it out, because I was just like, I didn't realize that this is what you could do.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
It felt like an evil scientist.
What if
For
we,
sure.
speaking of evil scientistry, what if we built Battle of Wits for the Hagak metagame, and then they couldn't mill you, and then your Angers would be good. You just have to draw one,
Yeah, I mean, how difficult could it be to draw one out of that many cards? I'm sure.
Well, drawing one of the 4 of in a Battle of Wits deck is actually really similar to drawing a Miser in a 60 card deck.
Oh, all right.
So it's not crazy.
Yeah, I did not know that. And let's see, you all are playing Bant Geddon in this matchup.
Yeah.
How do you feel? I can provide no insight knowing nothing about this Bant Geddon deck as opposed to as to how you think it might match up.
I haven't played it. I haven't seen it played. But I mean, when you have a Seth on your team, you're like, yeah, do that, whatever you're doing. Yeah, that's sweet.
Absolutely. You trust
Max
him.
trust. Absolutely. Oh, apparently the players are ready.
All right. Well, let's head on down to the match and see exactly how this Bant Geddon matches up. Awesome. So it looks like both players, I believe, are keeping 7 here. So, and with a Faithless Looting and a Carrion Feeder and a Bridge from Below, I mean, Emma's hand just looks very good.
It looks really good.
Yeah, right off the top. This is pretty gross, I would say.
Meanwhile, the 3 and 4 drop in Saffron Olive's hand, they're powerful cards. They might be good in a slower matchup, but that's not what this is. That's not what this is at all.
A Knight of the Reliquary, a terrifying card sometimes. Perhaps not in this exact instance.
I think if you can turn 2 it on the play, then like the threat of getting bog is real.
Yeah.
But turn 3 it on the draw is not real.
Yep. Oh yeah, let's take a look at this Bant Geddon list. Is there a bog in the main?
I don't know if it's main or sideboard.
Let's take a look really quickly. Oh, he does. Yeah, there is a Bojuka bog in the main.
Yeah.
Which is, pretty spicy.
I wonder if it was correct for him to mulligan this just because it is such a slow hand.
Yeah.
Like Path could maybe be relevant against like a Carrion Feeder or this Bloodghast. Maybe that's why he camped. I think I would want to turn 1 Mana Dork in this matchup, but I've never played Bant Geddon, so what do I know, right?
Yeah, exactly. We can certainly speculate. I think, like you said, like this Knight of the Reliquary is eventually going to hit the table, and maybe like that bog only comes into play once, though.
Correct.
Is also part of the problem, and with the rate at which this graveyard is going, like, is once even a stumbling block?
There's a decent chance Saffron just doesn't get another turn, right?
Yeah, I think so. With this, Hogak, Altar, and Bridge from Below in play.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Let's see. This I was looking at this card in hand, Celestial Kirin, which I think they talked about earlier. Not having a lot of familiarity with that card. I was just peering at it on my screen, being like, "What is that one?" But it is, of course, the the mainstay of the Bantgeddon deck.
Sometimes you need a 4-mana 3/3 flyer. I don't know. What else could it do?
Yeah, exactly. But I think, like you said, I don't know that there is much of another turn in Seth's future over there.
We'll see. Let's see. There's only one bridge in Emma's graveyard, right?
Yeah, that is true. So, are you imagining a scenario in which this could?
He could top deck his bog.
Yeah,
like just
that's
draw
true.
naturally. Fetch to thin.
Is it going to be the one? The one and only?
It is not.
Nope. It is a noble hierarch. Which, would have been great several turns ago. Now, not so much.
Yeah, if he could have turned to the knight, turning up bog here would have been fast enough.
Yeah.
Emma, of course, could have left the Bloodghast in play and still had like a really good chance of comboing off the turn after anyway. But
yeah, I was gonna say it's there's still the question of like exactly how bad would that be?
It's kind of like playing a normal sweeper against a dredge, where you kill all their prized amalgams and then they just like get them all back or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, they're like, oh, okay, you prevented me from attacking that one time.
So, were there any other decks you folks were considering for this?
We had talked about a couple of so we ended up with Mill as a deck. We had talked briefly about like a mono blue control deck, like one of the Narset, or like potentially like a Narset Days Undoing.
Like the Conley deck. That deck's
Yeah,
good.
exactly. One of
That
those.
deck's really good.
Also, and I think.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Days Undoing undoes your graveyard. It's graveyard hate.
Yeah.
Shuffle it back in.
Exactly. And I think Mill is what we ended up putting in that spot instead. Yeah, and we see that's the end of that one.
There's the game. There's the game.
Yeah. And then I had potentially talked about doing like a blue-white control deck. A classic. I love Narset, even if you're not using it to do really mean things.
Oh, it's a great card. Phenomenal card.
Yeah, exactly. I like it so much.
I have a lot of respect for the Mill deck. I've played it a lot. I think I go 4-1 more often than I go 3-2 or 2-3 with it. It's really solid. It's got a surprising number of good matchups. I think it's weak to Thalia, but we didn't play any Thalia. Oh, we've got one Thalia deck, but it's not getting matched up against it. Anyway.
Yeah. Let's see. So as some potentials, I'm just gonna take a look at Seth's sideboard here. We've got another bog, which I imagine is gonna come in. But other than that, what would you see coming in out of the sideboard? What are we seeing him bring in and out?
The knights are coming in probably to pop the Altar of Dementia.
Yeah.
I'm looking. It looks like there's a Settle the Wreckage. I think he brought in Remorseful Cleric, of course. It's a pretty good one to bring in against the graveyard.
Oh yeah.
Deck.
Very solid.
My brain is so warped was that I was like, oh man, that's a creature that sacrifices. That can kill some bridges. And I was like, wait a minute.
Wait. It'll do you one better than killing some bridges. It'll get rid of absolutely everything. I mean, you're not wrong. It does technically also do that.
I actually don't hate Saffron Olive's hand here.
Yeah, we're seeing, so we've got a path, a Knight of Autumn, and a Spell Queller.
Knight of Autumn being a traitor here and fighting on our side.
I know. Rude. You know, they say you can never trust is it a druid or a dryad? You can never trust either. Druids and dryads. All bad news.
Yeah, turn 1 mana dork into turn 2 3-drop is probably what Olive wants to be doing here.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's an opportunity for this deck to overcome the might that is Hogak, that certainly seems like a solid start. And he's going to leave up Spell Queller here, or obviously potentially Path to Exile.
Mm-hmm. And there's a Bloodghast that's coming back.
Yeah.
So that's not terrible.
Nope. And then another one that Emma's going to classic cast. Bloodghast. Every time I look at it in my hand, I'm like, oh yeah, I do have the opportunity to tap 2 mana or tap 2 lands and cast this for 2 mana.
Absolutely.
Which always feels a little bit weird. I'm like, this doesn't feel like your job. I think you have a different job. Your job is to be in my graveyard.
Did you play that card in Standard at all?
No, I did not. How was it in Standard?
It was sweet. You'd play with there was a 2-mana 2/2 that every time the Bloodghast died, you could pay a mana to drain them. So you would pair that with a sacrifice outlet and just go crazy. It was nice.
Yeah. What season of Standard was that? Because I think that's solidly before my time.
Oh, fair enough. That was Zendikar.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That was right when I started getting rolling on the SCG circuit.
Nice.
Yeah. Way back when.
I started drafting heavily during Return to Ravnica and that block. And then I started getting into Standard like a little bit towards the end of that, and then like really into it once Theros rolled around.
If Saffron Spell Quellers this, a lot of Emma's hand gets stranded.
Yeah, that's very true.
That bridge. I guess there's another looting there.
Exactly. There is another Faithless looting.
That was the fresh draw this turn.
It does look like it's going to get Spell Quellered though.
Yeah, I like that Queller a lot.
Yeah.
Like what else are you countering, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, another card that, again, when we were looking at it, we're like, oh, if you were only able to cast it from one place, like only from the graveyard or only from your hand, maybe, it would temper the deck a little bit. But as it is, when you can, you're looking at what to discard out of your hand and you're like, well, I can just discard Hogak. It's as good in my graveyard as it is anywhere else.
Free spells in general, or reduced cost spells.
Yeah.
Tend to do silly things.
Yep.
It's a
create
pretty
trouble.
normal pattern.
And I think we're just going to see a 4/3 in this Night of Autumn.
That Kirin Feeder helps out a lot.
Yes. So between looting and Kirin Feeder, we're going to look at potentially a lot of zombies hitting the battlefield this turn. And a Stitcher's Supplier, which is pretty sweet. Fill up that graveyard a little bit more. And there is this Path to Exile, which will at least create a speed bump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess. Oh, interesting. Playing out the land here. Because now you don't get the Bloodghast landfall. There's probably a reason that I'm missing.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just.
Oh, is there a Gravecrawler in the graveyard already?
No,
but that shouldn't matter.
There is a Gravecrawler. Yeah, it's right there above the Insolent Neonate, I want to say.
Because she can still make the land drop after. Maybe she's trying to hold up the Lightning Axe for some reason.
Yeah, but I feel like that might have been maybe what was at the forefront of her mind.
Maybe to get the Faithless Looting back.
Yeah. And here we see that path to exile. Question being, how many zombies before we exiled that carrion feeder? And obviously not exiling it, just sacrificing it to itself so that it's still in the graveyard, along with all
That's
its
a lot of
friends.
zombies.
It is a lot of zombies.
I almost
I
brought.
mean, I think it's a very satisfying number of zombies, but that's my personal opinion. I understand if yours is different.
Oh man, I almost brought a different carrion feeder deck, just because having carrion feeder and Viscera Seer and stuff is kind of nice against Bridge from Blow.
Yeah. Yeah, get it out of their graveyard right away. Yeah, and I think that's the first time that I've seen a Hogak cast only off of zombies.
Oh, with no delve whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't think there was any delve involved in that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe there was one that I missed. Yeah, it looks like there's one card in exile. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, that must be it.
8/8 Trampler is so fierce.
Yep. But Seth did draw another path to exile. So, and this, I mean, there is another Hogak in Emma's hand.
I think if that card was going to be suitably costed, like with its current cost, like it would have to be like 4/4 Trampler or something. I don't know. But then it's like a really unexciting rare to open in your sealed
Yeah.
pool or something. I have no idea how to balance that card, or if you can even.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Ooh, and this is
I've just been waxing poetic about how busted that card is in this deck, but Modern is really sweet. I do enjoy the format quite a lot. Even though I keep losing to this deck on Moto, I've still been really enjoying brewing and testing with the new cards and stuff. I've done a lot of Modern streams recently.
Nice. Are there any other decks that you're favoring right now?
Yeah, there were a few. There's that there's a zombie rally deck that I've played like 3 or 4 leagues with so far, and it's been really consistent. It's a little weak to Ensnaring Bridge decks, those like artifact creations. It's a little weak to that. Not really sure how to fix it because you have to devote so many sideboard slots to beating graveyard decks, so it's hard to beat everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been really enjoying as I was practicing getting ready for this event. I for the most part practiced with the mono red deck. Which I found to be, again, not being a red player, I was very pleasantly surprised with how well it did. So, including in, I only played against a Hogak deck in one match, but it went well. Like, you know, they had kind of like an awkward start.
For how good the deck is, like it's actually not that many. It's not like overrun on Moto. Like you don't face it every single round. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think part of it's that like the new cards are expensive. Part of it's that like some people like don't want to buy in if they like expect the deck to get banned soon. Who knows? Maybe it's just that people don't think it's interesting because you're just like kind of goldfishing there while your opponent dies. But that hasn't stopped people before.
Yeah.
Maybe people are afraid of the hate. I don't know. But I do think it's underplayed for how good it is.
Yeah, at least from what I've seen so far, I would agree that I was surprised at how little I faced it.
I streamed on the day that the Modern Challenge was happening, and I forgot that the Modern Challenge was happening, and so I just played a bunch of leagues. And I think I only faced this deck once the entire time. And then I saw people posting from the Modern Challenge, and all the sharks that just wanted to murder people were playing in that. So I just got to pretend that the deck didn't exist for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Everyone
fun.
who had a Hogak deck and wanted to play it was playing it over in the Modern Challenge.
What a day. What a glorious day. Anyway. Yeah, looking bad. Looking not great here.
Yep.
Seth does have a settle in the deck, but these blocks will kill some bridges.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's 12 zombies on the battlefield, so
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I think
they're gonna be like kindly retired.
I think next turn, even if he does draw Settle the Wreckage,
Yeah.
I think it'll be pretty easy for Emma to play around it.
Yeah.
Usually a good thought exercise is, what's the one card I could lose to here? All right, I'll play around that one.
Well, there is another Path to Exile, but I think we've arrived at the point where that is no good.
Ooh, no.
So that brings us up to 2-1.
2-1. We are on the back foot here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been enjoying these games
probably
a lot though.
probably good against like Tron, right? Having the Geddon in
Yeah.
the main deck. Probably good against like Valaka decks or Control decks. Not good there. No, didn't look good there. It's only one match, so who knows? But it didn't look good.
Yeah. So I've heard a lot about it. Mostly I love that we get to see it because you know, I feel like you always hear people doing essentially like the thought exercise of like, oh, you could have Celestial Kirin and Ugin's Construct. I have to be very careful to not call Eugene. We call him Eugene about around the office. And Eugene's Construct. But I feel like most people when they're talking about it, like they're not being daring enough to go out and do it. So I love when we get to see someone who's daring enough to be like, let's see this in action. I want to make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Good match, you guys.
CoolStuffInc.com is your home for everything Magic the Gathering. Need singles for constructed or kitchen table play? Looking to pick up some sealed product or the latest in Magic accessories? We've got you covered with our extensive live inventory. With free shipping on orders of $100 or more, a 25% buy list bonus, and our ever-popular customer rewards program, CoolStuffInc.com is the place for all your Magic the Gathering needs.
Hello, and welcome back to the Team Modern Super League. I'm Emma Handy, joined here by Saffron Olive. So let me be the first to apologize. That was miserable.
Oh yeah, your deck's really good. The Hogak deck is very strong.
Yeah, calling it my deck feels a little bit like a. I definitely played it, but it's not mine. Those are actually my first games with the deck, and I knew it was busted. And someone on our group had to play it, and I have a bunch of graveyard deck experience just from Dredge and all that. So, whew.
I thought you played it really well, and we were kind of in the same position. Like we were like, how can we not put it in there? It's not really a brew. It doesn't really fit our like theme, but until they ban it or something, like you might as well just play it. It's like wrong not to, I think.
Yeah, you had interaction pieces both games, and so game one you were dead on turn two if you didn't have a reaction piece. And then on like turn three, I got scared that I wouldn't combo, and then just easily did it on turn four. But that like through like the main deck to start, you had a path, which is like one of the best cards anyway.
Yeah, I think without Graveyard Hate, Path just isn't enough. You really need more than Path to have a chance. And I kept his hand that was kind of slow. I think I have one main deck Bajuka Bog that's like my main deck Graveyard Hate. I had a Knight of the Reliquary, so I was like fingers crossed for like a Birds or a Hierarch, and maybe turn two, Knight of the Reliquary, get Bajuka Bog would give me a chance in game one. Game two was closer, but the deck's resilient. I had like 3 passes, I think, that game, and your deck just doesn't care. You did a really cool line where you're just like looping your Hogeks to make a bunch of zombies. That was really sweet. So the deck, it looked really good.
Yeah, it was really cool. So at first I was just like, oh, I can't have 2 of these. Dang. Oh, wait, they kill each other. Oh, super wait. Oh, wow, let's go.
Yeah, being legendary is like almost an upside in that scenario somehow.
Yeah, exactly. And I was in this weird spot where I ended up killing off my own or not killing off my Hogak, but eating my blood gas in order to bring back Hogak an extra time and put you at a life total where you were dead to Vengevines if you Deputy of Detention all of my zombies. So it put you to 4 through correct blockers. And but it was weird to have to exile blood gas to do all of that. It's just kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah, it was. I think you played the deck really well. Especially impressed that you hadn't played it at all. I figured you'd been playing it for at least some games because you played it really well.
Well, I really appreciate that. That's super kind of you. I generally can. If there were a type of player I had to lump myself under, it's probably the combo player with a backdoor fair game. But it's hard to complain too awful much. So, talk to me a little bit about what Brew Crew is doing this round.
So this is going to be a fun one. This is a Urza Thopter Sword deck, but kind of a different take on it. I've been messing around with kind of the Is It version of Urza Thopter Sword. This is this weird like charge counter paradox engine brew, which is mostly a Caleb concoction. He really liked the paradox engine plan to get around Graveyard Hate. So hopefully putting a bunch of charge counters on things, making lots of mana, maybe casting our whole deck with Urza if we get lucky. So I have no idea how it's going to match up against your deck, though. Mill is not not a deck that we had really planned for. So, any thoughts on this matchup?
So we have a lot of surgicals and also a lot of extirpates, and your deck doesn't have a lot of ways to literally kill somebody. So I think that's pretty far in our favor. But our deck's not that great at interacting. The only thing it really does is try to mill people and then have stuff like Ensnaring Bridge, Damnation, Fatal Push, etc. to try and mop up creatures that'll kill it it's just under the assumption that blue decks can't kill it before it mills them out. But your deck doesn't really need creatures that bad and also benefits from us milling. So I think it's closer than it might look on paper.
Yeah, it seems like the surgicals are going to be a big deal because they're really, like you said, there's not much. If you can get Urza and Karn, I don't know how we win the game from there, really. Along with like one of the Thopter combo pieces, there's not many other finishers in the deck. So
yeah, there's a point where it's tough. So your Urza, if you can hit one early and it just gets on the battlefield, we might just be cold to it. I know Karn the Great Creator is one that we kind of just shrugged and went, well, if it turns out that's the deck it gets matched up against, then so be it. But on the other side of things, I'm not actually sure the Sword of the Meat combo can kill fast enough. It's great against all the grindy decks of the format, but it let's see, you get it online, and let's say you get 4 the next turn, and 5 the next turn, 6 the next turn. You're still not going to kill until like turn 9 or something. And to exist in Modern, you have to have a faster Goldfish than that. So the mill deck could kill before then, ideally.
I
But
think
I don't
that's
know.
okay. Let's see how it works out. This is going to be interesting.
All right, it looks like both players are kind of doing what they want to do for the most part, right? Like you have an early Ursa that y'all can crank out here.
Yeah, looks like turn 3 Urza or Karn versus a bunch of mill.
Yeah, I guess Murderous Cut can tag the Urza, but y'all are pretty well set up to just Karn the Great Creator real quick.
Yeah, and with the Everflowing Chalice and Astral Cornucopia, not too far away from getting to Lattice, although kind of hilariously, I guess,
Ooh.
Hedron Crab still does something even through the Lattice lock. Oh no, that's a surgical.
Oh, come on, hit a Karn. Hit a Karn the Great Creator. Let's go.
Oh, that's probably got to be the best draw in your deck there, I assume.
I hope so, because we drew it.
So what do you think about Mill in Modern, Emma? Is this like a legitimate tier deck, or is this more like something you brought for our weird Super League meta?
So I'm a coward, but think this deck is secretly quite good. Whenever Phoenix was good, this deck was incredible because the thing we talked about earlier, where it's surgicals, just take all the threats out of the deck pretty quickly. If you just tag, Arclight Phoenix and Thing in the Ice, this deck's really good. So as long as decks like humans don't really exist, message sent by the Hedron Crab.
Getting in there for 0.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's actually a benefit to it because of Mesmeric Orb with the Murderous Cut.
Oh, that that is kind of hilarious. So no Karn milled yet, thankfully, or Urza. So fingers crossed, maybe dodge the surgical for one more turn and actually land a threat.
Ooh. Oof. That is not quite good enough.
A little worse than Thoughtseize on this turn. So it looks like the Thopter sword combo can be locked down by that surgical pretty much any time, but if you can you deal with the Karn and the Urza? That's going to be the question, I guess.
Yeah, that's the tough one here. There's maybe a non-zero chance that Autumn goes for the Field of Ruin on draw step.
That makes sense.
And then that's one last shot to hit the Karn with Hedron Crab.
Do you think Karn is worse for your deck here than Urza? Which one are you scared of more?
So I think they're both pretty close. I think Karn is likely more frightening just because you have this Murderous Cut to check the first Urza, and ultimately, Urza does take a bunch of resources to get off the ground. That's what my gut says. It's all pretty frightening in the long run. The big issue is just that the deck is basically just cold the Karn.
So more mills, no Karn yet. Are we gonna see this Field of Ruin? It looks like.
Okay, seeing it on the upkeep makes sense.
These are gonna be some big mills, maybe game-changing mills.
Come on, game-changing mill.
No Karn. So I hope that Caleb just runs out the Karn here.
I think that's gonna be the line. Let's see what's in this board here. Obviously, you're gonna have the lattice lock, but you can grab a paradox engine out of your board to just go.
Yeah, there is some combo pieces in there.
Yeah. Or, maybe play it safe, play out an astral cornucopia. Who knows? Wait, what's happening? Oh, it's for 0 to protect the Glimmer Void. Okay.
Yeah, and with all the ways to add charge counters, running him out on 0 isn't that bad. It's kind of normal with this deck, actually.
Yeah, and you also just have mana up with Urza. This
Oh.
makes sense. Oh, you can cast both. Oh, because you tap the Karn and your 3 0-mana cornucopias.
Yep.
Good grief.
Except the Urza's going to die.
Oh, and then if Autumn Surgicals.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh.
Distinguished guests, we have liftoff.
Oh, that would have been a very explosive turn.
I mean, you'll still have a 4/4 for your trouble, though. That's not nothing.
That's true. It could get there, and it is going to keep growing, so. The discard in the mill deck does not line up super well with the threats in the Thopter Sword deck.
No, and there's even a point where Autumn's really wanting this Visions of Beyond to do something, so you can't do it just yet. You want to wait until Caleb mills some cards, and then Visions of Beyond, and then Surgical the Urza. And that basically translates to Autumn probably missing out on a land drop trigger from the Hedron Crab this turn.
So, what is Autumn looking to do with this surgical extraction? Is that going to go after the Urza or keep waiting? What's the plan with that?
I think it depends on what Autumn wants to try and use their hand to it, or which of the two Autumn basically wants to attack. Urza having 4 toughness means this collective brutality can't really kill it. That being said, whatever this Visions of Beyond draws could heavily influence it. Ooh, so like Mesmeric Orb here, it's weird, but now it's less likely that Autumn's interested in dealing with Urza. But if there's not a Karn in the graveyard, you probably just have to go after one of the threats to make sure you hit something.
Yeah, so there goes the Urza. And really, Autumn's not that far away from milling Caleb out. Caleb's down to 30 cards. There's going to be double Mesmeric Orb. There's a Glimpse in hand. It's not that many turns away, most likely.
Yeah, there's definitely a point where I think you brought it up earlier, where even if Caleb is able to set up this lattice lock with Karn, Hedron Crab still triggers, the draw step still triggers, and so on. Not triggers, but
Yeah,
you know what I'm
and
saying.
Mesmeric Orb too, really.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's the Core Tapper, a great play on turn 2 with like Astral Cornucopia, little less exciting late in the game.
Look, Core Tapper's just doing its best, okay? Ooh.
It is going to be a big Core Tapper.
Oh my gosh. Well, now the token can actually just race.
Yeah, that might be the plan here is Core Tapper beatdown.
What a sentence.
Only on Team Modern Super League.
Oh yeah.
I'm wondering if Caleb's going to sack the Core Tapper to play the Karn post-combat.
That's likely what's going to happen here.
It seems worth it.
Yeah, because that also just sets up the lattice lock next turn.
Yeah, and you saw the surgical, you see the mill. It's kind of risky to leave Karn not on the battlefield if you have the option.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. All right, well, there he is.
I don't know if there's any immediate tutor targets that are good here. Graveyard Hate, I guess. I don't know if that really does that much.
Yeah, you could. I mean, deck lists are open, so you know that there's no another murderous cut coming, but it's kind of free to just put the Tormod's Crypt on the battlefield.
Yeah.
If you know you're going to be spending all 6 of your mana next turn anyway.
Ooh, there is the surgical too. A good thing the Karn is on the battlefield.
Daylight, dollar short, etc.
So, So Autumn can glimpse here. That'll put Caleb down to 19. And then there's what, 4, 5 more from Mesmeric Orb? Is there any chance that this is gonna beat the Lattice Lock, or is it just like a little bit too slow here?
Yeah, I think we're looking at something that's about a turn short. You can't fetch or anything under a Lattice Lock, so you can't get multiple Hedron Crab triggers in the same turn. I don't think that Mesmeric Orb is going to be worth more cards than Glimpse. The second Mesmeric Orb would be worth more cards than Glimpse, since that is all. Oh, maybe it is actually. Yeah, no. Mesmeric Orb is worth more cards because it's going to be 5 this turn, and in order to Lattice Lock Autumn, you actually have to tap 4 permanents and then attack with the Construct, which is another 5 minimum.
So in the long run, it's going to end up being more mill from the second orb.
Yeah,
Still not sure the clock is quite there. Like one more turn maybe before the lock, and it might have been enough for the mill to pull it out.
Yeah, I think it's rough. I think Autumn actually needs to surgical extraction basically anything that whatever has the most copies left in deck. I think there's like 1 Ancient Stirrings in graveyard, which means there's 3 left in deck. So just to get 3 out of the deck or something.
So just as a mill card, like a bad mill card, essentially.
Oh yeah. Just try to get 3 cards out of the deck with it, because we're just racing at this point.
So Caleb's got to just set up the lock here. If not, he's going to be dead.
Yeah, when your opponent has a Shelldock Isle out in particular, you can assume
something
that,
bad's going to happen.
Yeah, staying alive is not what's on the agenda here. There's not a line where there's something else he's supposed to get, is there? I don't think he wants Chalice of the Void. Oh, does Walking Ballista kill Autumn? No, it's just short.
Yeah, I think just barely short. And the combo pieces, like Paradox Engine, Aetherflux Reservoir, not really time for those in this game. So
yeah.
I guess in some ways we saw the power of Urza. It died immediately, and the Construct is still looking like it might close out this game.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. This card is just worth so much damage.
So there goes the line you suggested. Getting rid of, I assume there must be a few Thopter Foundries left in the deck, using it kind of like a mill spell.
There isn't anything with Karn that adds virtual copies. Oh! I wonder if Caleb's supposed to crypt himself here. Ooh.
Yeah?
Yep.
It looks like that's what's happening.
There it is. That's just the cutest thing I've seen in my life.
Oh. So Surgical is a bad mill spell, and then Tormod's Crypt to fizzle Surgical is a bad mill spell.
Oh, if Caleb hadn't cracked the crypt, though, Autumn would have been forced into blocking with Hedron Crab.
Yeah, it was really good timing by Autumn.
Yeah, Yeah, I agree, because if they just took 8 here from the construct instead of 7, then minusing to get a walking ballista would have been lethal.
Yeah, very heads up line.
Yeah, I definitely like Caleb for waiting there too. This is both players playing quite well, I think.
Well, I assume we're going to see a Mycosynth Lattice being tutored out of the sideboard here.
You know what? It's maybe even better if that didn't happen. Huh? Huh?
Actually, So if Caleb gets Lattice, he has to tap 4 permanents. There's a tapped construct. So that's 10 cards that are going to be milled. I guess it's still just barely enough to close out the game next turn by animating the Lattice.
Yep.
Wow, that was really close.
Don't think there's an out here.
Lattice tends to do that with Karn.
Yeah.
There's not too many outs in the whole format, I don't think.
Can't cast spells. So I guess theoretically Autumn could draw another surgical. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well. Yeah, if no, because Caleb only mills 10.
So it looks like Caleb's going to close this out with 2 cards, 1 card in his library. 1 card.
Jeez.
Wow.
Whoa, talk about down to the wire.
Yeah, that was probably the closest game we've had all night.
Wow, 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 wow. That was unreal. That was game 1.
Yeah.
What on earth?
Oh, we're all right. We're gonna equip up the Lattice. Got to send a
Suit
message.
Up.
Well, I think we got a little fortunate to win that one because I don't think we have any cards that are good against Mill in our sideboard, and I see some some good cards in the matchup in your sideboard.
You fool. You complete fool. How could you not? We even tried to telegraph it on Twitter.
We should have played a one of Elixir of Immortality to tutor up with our Karn.
Ooh. Look, could have had our strategy. Just put the one Emrakul on the board. I tried so hard to get Autumn to put the one Emrakul on the board. It even brought up the fact that when they originally said we should just put Ulamog instead because it's the most castable one, I reminded them that we have Shelldock Isle. And that would be the memeiest, funniest thing ever.
Oh, that would be great. Oh man, the mill deck that kills you with the one of Emrakul.
Oh yeah, you're just like, all right. Well, I think I've stabilized, and oh, it turns out I don't have permanence. How about that?
So what are you bringing in from your sideboard here? Do you think, or what is Autumn bringing in from their sideboard?
So most of what you're trying to do is probably just some things that close off the other deck's ability to win, which I know sounds a little bit self-explanatory, but probably just things like Set Adrift are one of the only actual answers to Karn, which Set Adrift is kind of a hard removal spell in our deck just because of the fact that we're going to be taking cards off the top of the deck anyway. So if you put it on top and then you mill it, it's effectively a quote real removal spell. And then on top of that, something like Mind Funeral is going to be good just because we kind of rely normally a little bit on fetch lands in order for our deck to function. We want to archive trap people. But if you're not searching your deck as frequently, then archive trap isn't as reliable a spell, and you have to have some other way to actually get people dead.
Does not look like a lot of action in that opener for Autumn. Looks a little better, probably.
Yeah, this hand looks pretty nice. Really want to find something like a Feel of Ruin.
To turn on the archive trap?
Right.
On Caleb's side, not a very explosive hand. Have not seen the like Core Tapper or Surge Node with the 0 mana charge counter artifact start yet. So it's a fine start, but not explosive.
Yeah, this is what we call a great 6. Where you're just like, this is better than a random 6, but I'm not. This isn't why I played the deck,
Mox Opal. The Inquisition's actually going to be reasonable this game, I guess. Better than last game.
Yeah, there's a strong chance that it may have been better to Inquisition on 1. Unless Autumn's planning to just glimpse here.
So
the
I
big reason
just
would have basically just trying to tag something like the Mox Opal or what have you with the Inquisition. But there's even a point where if you don't think Caleb has anything super relevant in his opening hand or anything that he's going to do on 1, this is just one extra look at a good card anyway.
Yeah. Let him draw one more card before you take a peek. I assume it's got to be the Thopter Foundry here, I guess. Taking one of the 2 Everflowing Chalices doesn't seem that appealing.
Yeah, there's certainly a point where you just see the other chalice and, who cares, right?
This is another turn 3 Karn hand, potentially.
Shh. We don't talk about the turn 3 card. So do you think there's any merit to the strategies where instead of worrying about boarding for Caleb, he should have actually just brought anything playable in his deck? Because it's like having extra life almost.
I think that's hard to do in a Karn deck because so much of the power of Karn is being able to tutor stuff from your sideboard. So I could see sideboarding up maybe a couple cards, but I think with the Karn package, you got to leave a lot of options in the sideboard to make it work, really.
Yeah, you're not totally wrong. I guess my thinking is maybe like the second crypt, some of the Grafdigger's cages maybe, or an Assassin's Trophy, maybe the Aetherflux Reservoir. Cards that you're probably never going to Karn for, but just having a higher quantity of cards in your deck. Like last game, Caleb won with 1 card left in his deck.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Maybe it is correct just to go up some extra cards. It could potentially make a difference. Like you said, last game was so close that 1 extra card was the difference between winning and losing. So, this might be a quick one. This looks like Karn can potentially snag a Lattice next turn and get it on the battlefield. So what is Autumn looking for? Is there an out to this?
I believe the best thing that could happen. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lands in graveyard and 6 not in the graveyard and 21 total in the deck. So there are 9 lands left. Fetch land, milling 6 lands into Mind Funeral is lethal.
Instead, it's an Inquisition.
Inquisition is kind of like a good draw if you took the good part out, which is to say it was technically a draw.
It was a draw. And now we're going to see Karn doing what Karn does. What do you think, Emma? Is Karn for Lattice anywhere near Hogak in terms of things to be concerned about in the modern format?
Probably not. I mean, you can shove it into any deck, which is kind of not cool. But on the other hand, it almost does like the Chalice of the Void thing where if a deck's a little bit underpowered, you can just put 4 of this card in there and all of a sudden you have a way to immediately slam the door closed. And I don't think that's a bad thing because look, the game ended on turn 4, which is pretty good for a Dirtly deck.
Yeah, that is true. That is a fast clock.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that Tron kind of lacked before, right? Where if you got to like turn 8, you were going to win. But not doing anything for the first 3-ish turns isn't good enough. But having a way to actually just say, all right, the game is concluded. I'm the winner on the 4th turn is so big for those decks.
Yeah, no, that's true. It does open up a lot of different strategies.
Yeah. And overall, it costs, 10 total mana to do all of this? And your Planeswalker has to live. So it's almost like the infect thing where, yeah, it's a strong combo, but it dies to bolt. So
yeah, it's not killing you on turn 2 like Hagik, that's for sure. Turn 3 or whatever. So a
Yeah.
little fairer.
Yeah. In conclusion, Hogak can go, and Karn can stay. And I guess we can go to a commercial. We'll be right back, everybody. Stay tuned.
CoolStuffInc.com is your home for everything Magic the Gathering. Need singles for constructed or kitchen table play? Looking to pick up some sealed product or the latest in Magic accessories? We've got you covered with our extensive live inventory. With free shipping on orders of $100 or more, a 25% buy list bonus, and our ever-popular customer rewards program, CoolStuffInc.com is the place for all your Magic the Gathering needs.
Welcome back, everybody, to Team Modern Super League. We just finished round 4. I got destroyed by the sick Urza Khan deck that was it your own creation, Caleb?
Yeah, that was my first, that's where my head went to when I first saw Urza spoiled, is I was like, people have been actually playing a much worse version of this card in this like wonky combo deck. So this is actually kind of like 2 cards rolled into one. It's probably really good here. But anyway. Yeah, I don't know if destroyed is the right word. Maybe game 2, but game 1 was super close. Game 1 was incredibly close. That was a good game.
Yeah, game 1 was sweet. Having the piece of interaction to take down the first Urza and then surgical them is like a race against the Khan. I typically really like Mill against these sort of like. It's a big part of the reason Emma and I wanted to bring it this week is we think it's actually quite good against brews. Against decks that are like leaning on 1 or 2 key cards, the fact you have the main deck surgicals and you're really good at setting them up to tear apart the key cards.
I agree. I think Mill is good against modern. Maybe not the whole field, but like it's a little bit to Thalia. But no, it's a really underrated deck. I've played a lot of it. We almost brought it. I know Pleasant Kenobi has also played a decent amount of that deck. We were talking about it, but we didn't quite pull the trigger. It's a really good deck. It's like, yeah, you can midnight graveyard haste. You can strip people's hands. It's really good against combo decks. Super good against Tron. Not that any of us are playing Tron, but you mill a Tron piece, you surgical at game one, just like anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
I know when Jason Chung like kind of briefly popularized the deck, it was because of KCI being so popular.
Oh yeah. I will surgical that one. Okay, sweet.
Oh my gosh.
And they're drawing through the whole deck with KCI too. So it's like just helping.
Yeah. Just all these cantrips. Amazing for you. What's this matchup we have coming up? It's Emma playing against Vince, and we have Burn against Hogak. Do you know anything about that matchup?
I know nothing about that matchup. I mean, Burn is never really out of it, right? And like Burn can have some like really fast draws, and I think the bridge deck has a faster Goldfish, but if the bridge deck like takes half a turn longer than they should, or maybe they've got a hand that's weak to Eidolon, I could certainly see Burn winning. So I would like to see. I would like to see Emma get her comeuppance after destroying us with Hagak. So it'd be good to have the inverse here.
We can't just have Hogak win every match it shows up.
Yeah, we can. Please.
Oh my gosh. One good thing to know, Hogak does have the faster Goldfish, but I do think it's relevant, like, Hogak's creatures block really badly.
That's true.
So those early Goblin Guides seem really live to get in a bunch of hits.
Yeah, if you're on the draw, you go turn one Goblin Guide, and you're like making some Bloodghasts. You have a late draw. Sure.
So really curious to see how that plays out.
And the Burn deck's got some relevant hate in the board. 4 Rest in Peace, 2 Ravenous Trap. I've seen those cards be not good enough before, but they can be.
I think if you have pressure, like I can imagine, like, you know, you play your like mid-range deck or whatever and Ravenous Trap them and it's pretty bad, but hopefully if you have like some pressure and a bunch of burn spells, then like even just buying that one turn.
Just buying the one turn, yeah, maybe that could work.
So here's hoping anyway.
If you're on the play, do you play Eidolon on the Great Rebel or Rest in Peace on turn 2? Your opponent's got a fetch untapped, so if they have a Nature's Claim, they could fire it off either way.
Oh my gosh, I am no Hogak expert. I played 0 games. Oh no, I'm no Burn expert either. I've not really touched Burn very much. I guess, can they go off? They can't really go off on turn 2 if they just have a fetch, right? Because they need Altar in play, so you're probably safe just to play the Eidolon. And
yeah, I like that reasoning.
Yeah.
I'm not a Hogak or Burn expert either. I am an expert in hitting my 7th land in Burn. I do that every time I play that. It's like a superpower. It's the worst superpower ever.
Awesome. We're gonna head down to the match. Let's do this. All right. So Emma has a nice one. 2 lands, a Swift Spear. Kind of exactly what you want to see in the Burn deck. But looks like Vince is going to be mulliganing. Just a bit land heavy there. No real enabler beyond dredging a Dark Blast.
So many landfall triggers though. Like the 6th one.
All right. So he's really looking for an Altar here. Or like maybe a Vengevine he could potentially set up. You know, do you prefer leading on the supplier or looting? I kind of figure so part of my thinking is if you hold the supplier, it's nice with a Vengevine, but
if you do sack into it with Faithless Looting, I like that reasoning. And then on turn 2, you can lead off the supplier, and then there's another chance at hitting a Vengevine off of that. So you're actually going like 5 cards deep looking for Vengevine, assuming you find another 1-drop.
So getting in the block on the Swift Spear is absurd. Like Vincent just cast the turn 2 8/8. He just has 7 cards in his bin if he blocks here, right? and then like anything gives him the 8/8, or all right, he's found an altar.
I'm guessing he chose not to block because the Swift Spear is just a 1/2, and he's figuring, well, next turn I'll get to block for way more.
Yeah. That makes sense. Block a lot more damage. As long as he's buying himself time from the damage, it's all good. So now Vince gets to looting and cast Hogak if he wants. Just cast one straight up.
Do you want to have the Gravecrawler first? It's like the same, right?
Yeah. That way
Or
you
it's
can
better
like
'cause you leave
keep
it.
a card in your yard as well.
Yeah. I don't know what you would leave. I think there's like a Faithless Looting in there or something.
This Hogak deck, like,
Turn 2 8/8 seems pretty good against burn. Like, deal
yeah.
clips. I don't know.
It's like even if Vince didn't have this altar in hand, he would still just be in a dominating position. I don't know. Do you think the Hogak deck's gonna get hit at all, or do you think people just haven't? You think it's gonna hit it? What would you take from it?
I would ban 2 new cards. I would ban Hogak and I would ban Altered Dementia, just straight up.
Yeah.
I would ban multiple cards, and I think those would be the 2 that I would choose.
Let
people play Dredge if they want to. I used to hate Dredge, and I'm just like, no, let's go back to that. I take it back against that deck some more.
I'm very pro not banning looting. You know, there's so many like decks really people enjoy. People
there's
really
so many
enjoy
archetypes.
Yeah.
And there's like, yeah. And most of the decks that it enables are you can interact with Graveyard Hate and stuff.
Like Emma's honestly not that far off here. She has 12 points with 3 bolts and a 3. She has 13 points even, 3 bolts and a Swift Spear. But
do you think Vince should have tried to combo that last turn?
I don't think he has to combo that turn. I think if he was on the draw, he would have been forced to. On the play, I think he has just about enough breathing room.
What are his odds of whiffing, though, if he had gone Altered Dementia and milled? What is that? It's a lot of mill.
I guess they're pretty low. If he finds a single bridge, it's probably very easy. And even if he doesn't, he can still just like end the turn with a Hogak in play, which is about the same. All right, so Emma can block a 2/1, but then these Bloodghasts and this Hogak are gonna get the job done. Rip. Which incidentally is what. Yeah. I was about to make that joke. All right, maybe Vince forgets to assign trample damage properly.
Yeah, Moto assigned that one correctly. The one weird one with Moto is Master of the Wild Hunt. You ever play with that card in Cube?
Oh, I think I have. I can't remember what it does. I know it's like really unintuitive.
It automatically assigns all your wolves damage to, it assigns like all the damage to like one wolf, and so you have to like manually split it up. And so if you're used to combat damage and trample working intuitively, sometimes you just click through and kill one wolf instead of like 5 or something. It's nonsense. Rest in Peace is coming in crazy.
Oh my gosh, what a surprise, honestly. So yeah, we were very aware of the Hogak deck when we were making our lists. Like that's why you see the extra Grave Hate in this burn list.
It's hard to like play like 7 pieces of sideboard hate for one of your opponent's decks, but I mean you're right, you should be prepared for sure. It's kind of cool exactly how good Nature's Claim is in the matchup, because I think Eidolon is one of Burn's best non-rest in peace cards, so it's 2 of them.
Is there ever a world in which you get to Nature's Claim your Altar of Dementia to gain some life, or are you just like always killing them if you have the Altar in play?
I could see that. Last game he had alter and then didn't use it. So I could see a game like that where he's just like, yeah, fast 8-8, serve, and then like
maybe if your board's already absurd, you just don't need to take risks. You can cast your 3 mana 2-card gain 4.
Probably less likely here on the draw that is a thing that happens.
So we see Vince boarding in Nature's Claims for these rips. He's also bringing in some Lightning Axes just to slow down Emma's early aggression. Emma
fires. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say Emma's also boarding in some Paths. That game Path would have been kind of nice. Cutting off that early Hogak would have actually made a huge impact on the game.
Yeah, I think that would have swung the game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Path is such a such a miserable card in Burn. Like you need to bring it in some matchups, but then your opponent's at 3 and you top deck it, and you're like, oh man.
Yeah. I have definitely been in that situation before. All right, Emma is Gatsby on the play. No Grave Hate, no 1-drop. This has 13 points of burn, which is fine, but not thrilling. And I definitely have to defer to Emma on how good this hand is, but she seems to think it's good enough to keep. I guess with a hand like this, when you have 7 pieces of Grave Hate in your deck, you're always like drawing pretty live to a piece as well.
That's valid. It also might be that with Burn, like every mulligan, that's like one more draw step you need, right? It's another like 3 damage you need to magic up somehow.
Exactly. And like even if you have the Grave Hate, you still have to kill your opponent ultimately.
I think I would have like leaned towards mulliganing because like a turn 1 Goblin guy can also like make up for another burn spell or two, but I'm no burn expert, and I can understand why she kept.
Yeah. Right, Vince gets to play the turn 1 Supplier. Hits a bridge as well, which is really nice. With this altar, maybe Vince just gets to combo next turn. Honestly. Like, it looks like he's almost has everything. Alright, so it's a bit hits. So Emma's holding up a path here. I assume to try and cut Vince off the possibility of casting a Hogak potentially, or to hit the Hogak. Maybe you get.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say maybe you get to path the Supplier in response to an altar to stop Vince like churning through the.
That'd be kind of brutal on this turn. I almost think Vince should have blocked there, but I'm not. I have no idea. Like the whole pros and cons decision tree. It's kind of complicated.
Yeah. Right. This instant neonate looking real nice with this bridge from below. Of course, gets to make a zombie, and then get a card in the yards. You're even like fueling towards that delve. Right, but it's just figuring out the line here. This Hogak deck it has a lot of options.
Yeah, it's really complicated. Got a lot of moving parts. A lot of those parts are redundant, like a lot of graveyard interaction and stuff, but.
All right. Plays the land. He's going to set up either a Faithless Looting or this Carrion Feeder. The Carrion Feeder would let the Hogak come down very easily this turn. By filling the yard, sacking the Stitcher Supplier to enable that.
Right, because of the bridge, yeah.
And then the Feeder also means that this path can't hit the Hogak properly, which is kind of scary from Emma's perspective. Vince just gets to keep the Hogak sitting in the yard for a future opportunity.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
All right.
I know Kenobi has some experience with this deck. I think he just uploaded a playthrough.
Yeah, I've not had a chance to play this deck personally. I'm aware. I don't know. I'm hoping I won't have to. I'm hoping it will be gone before Barcelona. We'll see.
I sympathize with that so much.
I really enjoy playing Dredge personally, but the Hogak deck doesn't quite seem for me. All right, so Vince
I
gets
enjoy
down.
that style of deck. I just don't think it's fun to play something that's just like overpowered. If that makes sense.
That
I don't
makes
get to
sense.
feel clever.
All right, Vince gets down to Hogak. So we could see Emma go for. I guess if she goes for a Bolt, does she have any outs towards lethal? Don't think so. She can path. Oh, is she pathing the Swift Spear? No, she's pathing the Hogak. Carrion Feeder eats the Hogak, keeps it safe. It's in the yard for future casting. All right, what does this land do for Emma? She can eat a zombie in combat. It's kind of awkward from Vince's perspective. If Vince blocks with a zombie, Emma could just pass priority to eat the bridge from the yard. Yeah, this is nice.
I think you sack the supplier in response here.
Yeah, I agree. You get another zombie.
Although if it hits another bridge, no, do 2 bridges get nulled? Oh no, because the trigger's already in the stack. Yeah. 2 bridges, you wouldn't get exiled.
All right, so the bridge is gone. The Hogak can still come back though, with this altar threatening to mill Vince's deck. Emma has 10 points of burn in hand, so if she manages to untap, she's drawing life to a burn spell to kill Vince here. But there's a decent chance that she doesn't untap with a library in play. Depending on how good an altar turn Vince can muster together.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably a pretty good turn. There's a lot of mill just like on board. Carrying feeder and whatnot.
Was Vince going the greed line? I don't know. I think Vince was trying to hit a land there so that he can have the extra delve fuel in his yard and like that little extra fuel to go off with. But as it is, he's like forced into the fair plan now, which gives Emma outs to hit some burn spells. Even a goblin guide is lethal here. Or a swift spear.
There's 7.
7 plus 3. There's a rift bolt suspended.
Oh, I missed that. Sorry. Yeah, good call.
So Emma has a bunch of live draws here. Come on. You can do this, Emma. I believe in you.
He almost should have left a zombie back, right?
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. Come on. No!
That's not good enough. I like how I was talking about how good Eidolon seemed in this matchup, and now it's not. I just get to be super wrong. Well, poetically wrong.
I mean, Eidolon's always a bad top deck against like anything other than pure combo. Rip.
Ooh.
Or no rip, as the case might be.
We started 1 and 2, and now we've crawled back up to 3 and 2. Is that right? I think that's right.
We have to win out from here. Playing on hard mode.
That's true. What's the next matchup? Do you know?
The next matchup is we have Megan against Seth, and it's we're bringing back Hogak. We're bringing Hogak back.
So, like I said earlier, we can't just have Hogak run the tables. Like the deck needs to lose at some point, right? I think we all agree. We all made.
I thought you said we just can't let Hogak lose. You know, we need to get this deck banned. That's only going to happen if it wins every match on Team Modern Super League for the next month. Clearly.
Yeah, if they use the modern Super League for bannings, no, I think they're more likely to use Moto data, right?
So we have Hogak on one side. On the other side, we have the return of the sweet Urza Thopter sword deck.
It looks like we're going to cut dance. Is that awesome? Looks like that's what's happening.
So we're going to cut to ads now. We'll be right back.
CoolStuffInc.com is your home for everything Magic the Gathering. Need singles for constructed or kitchen table play? Looking to pick up some sealed product or the latest in Magic accessories? We've got you covered with our extensive live inventory. With free shipping on orders of $100 or more, a 25% buy list bonus, and our ever-popular customer rewards program, CoolStuffInc.com is the place for all your Magic the Gathering needs.
Hello and welcome back to some more Modern Super League, where we're going to dissect how that game went. I would like to start by apologising to everyone involved for playing Hogak. I guess they're probably only legal for a little bit longer, right? So we might as well get our games in now.
yeah. I mean, I played it earlier and did the same thing. And so, I was, halfway through the first game, I was just like, is this what I was doing now?
Which is pretty gross because I think it was turn 3 or 4, wasn't it? So when you say halfway through, we're 2 turns in.
Yeah.
Modern, I think, Hogak is an issue. I thought it was interesting that your matches, I was watching them, you got to combo kill with the altar, where I was too scared to do so with burn. I was like, I think I just need to make 10 power and hit them. So it's interesting to play that differently.
Yeah, racing's just fine against burn. Burn's like a turn 3 3/4 deck. Like technically it has a nut draw that can kill on turn 3, but it's a turn 4 deck. So if you just make 10 power on turn 2, you're gonna race it.
Yeah, exactly. And game 2, I was like, I need to just play this ever so delicately because you guys had access to. So you had 4 Rest in Peace and 2 Ravenous Traps.
Yes.
Yes, I was very scared when you didn't rip me. I was like, if Emma's got out of Ravenous Trap. So I was like, how can I make as much power with as few cards going to the graveyard as possible? So I sat there tanking in the turn 2, and I wasn't bad manners. I was just like, I don't want to die to Ravenous Trap.
Oh, I didn't think you were BMing at all. My hand was kind of, I don't know, it wasn't great game 2. So my opener was like 3 bolts, Boros Charm, Path, 2 lands. And that's kind of the point where I don't know, I had 13, 14 damage. I know you're going to deal 3 to yourself. And since I'm on the play, there's a point where unless you have an Altar of Dementia kill, I can probably just race a lot of your draws.
Yeah, definitely. If I hadn't hit the bridge, that path would have been really, really good because you would have pathed my Hogak and then I wouldn't have much to follow up with. So the bridge from below was probably the luckiest hit I think I had across that like whole match. I think I messed up my attack on game 2 because like after I'd swung and I literally said out loud like, "Oh, please no Boros Charm." You Boros Charmed me. It's like, "Oh, if you play like a Pterrys creature here with any burn spell, I die." So I should have kept a zombie back.
Yeah,
I wasn't punished because Hogak's too good.
Yeah, whatever. Hogak's dope. The only thing that really screwed me up that game was honestly the Kirin feeder. Because it made it to where you could just immediately get bridge triggers. So when I was holding the mana up with the Monastery Swift Spear for a couple of turns, the plan was if you insolent neonated and went to get a trigger, I could respond and bolt my own Monastery Swift Spear and exile the bridges. But then you played the Kirin feeder, which just put me in a spot where
I almost didn't. I wasn't sure if that was correct, but it ended up being very good, so can't complain. Kirin Feeder is a good Magic card. I'm really glad it's in Modern. It's just a shame that it's being showed off in such a degenerate combo deck as opposed to like a zombie tribal deck or something more fun, I guess. But we're about to see.
Caleb almost brought one of those.
Pardon? Oh, you did? Yeah, so did Caleb. Caleb loves it as well. So like, maybe we'll see them like next week or the week after. I think we're about to see. I think our next matchup is Hogak versus Ursa. So we're seeing 2 Modern Horizons. Don't forget, this is Commander Horizons for everyone watching at home. Apparently, there's no modern cards here at all, apparently. But
we're busting out the 100-card decks this round. I mean, Hogak's a legendary creature. Urza's a legendary creature.
I guess they are technically commanders. They are technically commanders.
I mean, you, me, Wumbo.
So who are you favoring in this matchup between Hogak? Not much discussion there. I guess Hogak is pretty good. I mean, I guess Caleb can have very strong draws, but there's things like even like the lock, the Magazine lock that people thought might be a problem from the Khan. Everyone's forgotten about the Wall of the Spark cards that feel a bit like an issue. Even that's not really good enough because at some point the Hogak deck says, actually, I don't need my lands anymore. I'm just going to make lots of power. So, I think Hogak's probably favored, but I guess there's some draws from I guess you can get lucky. Also, the access to like crypts out of the board from the Wish part of Khan as well is pretty good.
Yeah,
so you never know. There could be some slow draws.
You have a bunch of cages. The slow draws can be rough. I still like the fact that Carrion Feeder Bridge from Below, that whole engine just gets around cage is so stupid.
Well, Bridge from I was chatting to a friend recently who told me, "Oh no, Bridge from Below used to be banned in Modern." I'm like, no, you feel like it might be one of those cards that used to be banned.
Dread Return.
Because it's so powerful. Yeah, exactly. Someone always thinks of something banned from Dread. Yeah, it's Dread Return and now the Troll again. Bridge is an obscenely powerful card that's been legal for a very long time. So maybe when Wizards correct. Well, of course, the format might self-adjust. The format might self-adjust when everyone's playing 8 to 12 cyborg graveyard cards.
Well, let's go see the match now and see how it looks.
Yes, let's have a look. Okay, let's have a closer look at what is happening here.
Oof.
So both players have some kind of wonky hands.
Yeah, Megan really needs another land, but otherwise both decks are kind of going to get to do what they want to do.
Yeah, so Stitcher to Supply is so important for the Hogak deck. I say that, like, I mean, all the other one-drops are pretty powerful too, but like a second land, obviously that's, you would think we just saw Scribe, a Altar, which I'm assuming went to the bottom, because the second land unlocks that Stitcher, but then Seth's hand is a lot of mana, and not a lot else.
Period.
Yeah. There's nothing else. Well, I guess in some sort of bizarro world, he could just beat down with with core tappers, but I just don't think they're getting through. The Stitcher has milled, I believe, a Bridge from Below and a Hogak.
Yeah, and
which is exactly what it wants to see.
Most people normally play 1 mana for 1 Entomb. That was 1 mana for like 2 Entombs.
Yeah, so like for people who've been following, obviously we've seen how busted Hogak can be, but like for the combo turns, it wants 2 bridges in the graveyard, 2 black or green creatures in play, and an altar. And Megan is already halfway there on all those counts. But she didn't land the next land. She hit an instant Neonode. But again,
That's a
back in
redraw.
now. Yeah, exactly. It's going to redraw. It's going to ditch the Vengevine most likely, or perhaps the Stinkweed Imp. But most like the Vengevine, and that could hopefully hit her another land, and then off to the races. Meanwhile, Seth has played a draft uncommon from. I don't even know what set that's from. Mirror Besieged?
In 15 is. Oh wait, you're talking about Surge Node. That's
Surge Node.
In 15 is when Citadel was an uncommon, but it was a common in Darksteel.
Right. Just Surge Node makes me laugh because it used to be just a bit of a meme, only playing a lot of
Dove
Dove
Factory
Factory decks.
Look, the first card milled with Marsh Flats. Instant Neonate would have hit the Black Source and then gotten back the Vengevine when she cast the.
But that said, there's also a chance that she's just not going like I did against Burn. Instead of going for the combo turn, just casting a Hogak and hitting Seth with it, you know. But no, I think she's decided just to get in with the Stitcher this turn. This allows Seth to untap and play some more weird artifacts.
Yeah, the big difference here is you just get to keep your bridge, which has got to be worth it, right? You get to put more card. Oh, and you also get to trigger Vengevine if you do it next turn. If you cast Neonate and then discard Vengevine and then get back Hogak.
So you actually get more power next turn.
Yeah.
In the long term, you just get to attack with the 8 power next turn. But and also there's not really I guess the only thing she had to fear there was if he's like playing a Mox Opal into Karn and then goes and gets a Crypt, I guess. But nope, he's played a Core Tapper, which is a card we don't see in Modern very often outside.
That's what we call a modern staple.
Yes. If only Modern Horizons had Core Tapper in it, people might be less complaining about the.
Well, it couldn't have been in there, so maybe it could have been something like
a functional, a legendary Core Tapper.
What about Core Tappist?
Okay. This
is smart.
This is very good, yeah. So he sacked it to pump his Astral Cornucopia, which is something you don't hear in Modern very often either. But it's also popped the bridge.
Yeah. Luckily, we still get this redraw here with the Vengevine and still get a big turn as a result, since the Neonate just kind of replaces the card that Bridge from Below represented in the graveyard.
And I mean, she had a lot of options there for what to put into the graveyard. She put the Stinkweed Imp in and then dredged it back. Hopefully trying to hit bridges, I guess.
Yeah, the idea here is more than likely she just is like kind of off trying to hit the land this turn since she can't do anything with the mana anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So hitting the land on the next draw step would be better, but again, doesn't do anything here.
I mean, and she's just representing a casual 10 power attack next turn. So,
don't
like
make it weird.
Don't make it weird. Did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just be cool with it.
Be cool.
So Seth is playing how big is this cornucopia?
Oh
no, just despite all that mana, despite all my mana, I'm still just a 2 mana cornucopia.
Call that a cornudosia.
Is that the official term? Is it?
I hope that wasn't funny.
So, in spite of a bit of stumbling from both players, the Hogak deck still has a lot of power in play.
I would like to move to combat.
She's doing some counting, making sure that the power is more than 8. It is. I mean, so even blocks here don't seem great, do they? Like,
yeah, let's see. Your options are take 9 instead of 8 by blocking the Hogak, or
potentially put some bridges in the bin.
Yeah, exactly.
So Seth's going to get a 9. He's going to untap, and his best possible draw. I can't even remember what he ended up putting in his Urza list.
Karn for Ensnaring Bridge.
Yes, yeah. I was about to check if there's any bridges main. I couldn't remember. But Karn for Ensnaring Bridge doesn't mean that the Stitcher Supplier beatdown plan is still online. And Gravecourt, I guess.
Whatever would anyone do?
So he drew a Mox Opal.
All right, so it's land Opal, and
despite its TCG player average price, it's not going to win that game of Magic there. Thought the Founder and Ancient Stirrings were 2 cards deeper, but he didn't get a chance to go any deeper than that. So So how did you guys configure your Hogak deck? So fun fact, by the way, I said like Hogak should be one of our decks because I played quite a bit with this like last week or so. And I left that with Seth. And then before I started tonight, I realized that he'd actually submitted a list that I haven't played with because I wasn't playing with any green lands. So it wasn't even the version I played with. So we were very organized, very, very organized. How have you guys considered? How have you configured your sideboard?
So you'll find that we were way more organized than you guys. I looked to Autumn at a hotel room at a Grand Prix or a Magic Fest this last weekend, and I said, Autumn, will you pick a Hogak deck out? And Autumn picked out a Hogak deck and submitted it.
Well, so, in my defense, I was flying when I got the message. I was like, because I'm in the US at the moment, ready for Seattle. So I was like, yeah, I'll leave it in Seth's capable hands. I'm surprised there wasn't like several Blood Moons in the sideboard, knowing him.
I'm sure y'all brought no Blood Moons. It was nice. It's like
there's always next time.
On Twitter, I told Saffron, I said, "Hey, I won't bring Infect if you don't bring Moons." And he said, "Nah, I need to get wins somehow."
You were bringing Infect. He was sure it was happening. And I was like, oh, I'll play a Thalia deck versus that. And then I had to play Vizier combo instead. But you've got
Noble Hierarchs, baby.
You got 4 natural states. So I think your list is almost identical to ours. Did you all just pick it off of Goldfish like we probably did?
I think we got ours off of from one of the challenges or a PTQ or something. But y'all have Ingot Chewer, where we have an extra lightning axe.
Oh, and you got Smithereens. Smithereens. What am I talking about? Shenanigans.
Yeah, we have Shenanigans. We just really want to be able to tag Grafdigger's Cage.
You just really want to say the word shenanigans, right? So, this is this is what I don't. The Hogak deck, the bit I struggle with is what to cut. I spent ages deliberating over what to cut in our post-board match. And Megan's gone for cutting the Vengevines in place of, I think it was Hate for, well, it's Artifact Hate, obviously. And Seth's hand, it's less mana this time and more cards that might do something.
Yeah, this is a way for you to actually just turn your cards into something that matters. So
I mean, Megan has a Nature's Claim and the Smithereens, but only 1 land again, and that land does not make green mana.
But we do have Shenanigans, and then we have a redraw with a Neonate. I'd be inclined to keep this hand.
I would too. I mean, like, even if you don't end up casting the Nature's Claim or even casting the Shenanigans, you've got like a Neonate that you can bridge and a Kirin Feeder to follow up with, so it's not terrible at all for being proactive.
Yeah, you kind of have the beginning of what you want to be doing here, and really you're at the spot where lands are pretty okay and spells are fine as well, since so many of your spells are 1-drops that work with this hand and build redraws like Faithless Looting, Insolent Neonate, etc.
And kind of ironically, I haven't played enough with the new Urza. I haven't done anything with the new Urza yet. So I have no idea what hands are even keepable in this Thopter Khan Urza monstrosity that Caleb and Seth have brought to the table. He has mulliganed to 5.
Good. Just as Richard Garfield intended.
I mean, if only we had a certain London mulligan, perhaps.
You know what? I think things are as they should be right now.
Oh, okay. You want the Hogak deck to win.
I would like the Hogak deck to win this round.
Right. Okay.
Last round, I was really upset with the Hogak deck.
Yeah, I thought you might be against the Hogak.
Tired of it, but it did such a good job beating me. I came around, you know.
On the upside is if Seth does lose, which I'm not going to lie, his hand and just general mull to 5 and being against Hogak doesn't make him the favourite here. It does mean we get to see some more modern. And some non-Hogak. And she hit the second land. So the advantage bar has shifted firmly towards Megan here. So something I only learnt this week from playing Hogak is then when you ditch a bridge from below to Insolent Neonate, because of the way you can choose or the wording of the card, you get to get a zombie out of it, which doesn't feel very intuitive to me, but that's how it works.
Well, you see, you discard a card and then...
But I just feel like because it's before the semicolon, that doesn't make sense, but that's just me moaning about something that's just how Magic works. So I guess on the upside here, Seth does have a core tapper, so he can break bridges. And that can put charge counters on his Astral Cornucopia, which then in turn allows him to cast. How many counters to put on for sacking? Is it 1 or 2?
So he gets to sacrifice it for 2 counters on the Astral Cornucopia here.
So he can blow the bridge, and he can untap and cast Khan next turn.
Yeah, the big thing here is I think we probably should have cracked the Neonate with the core tapper on the stack.
Yes, agreed. But yes, so this really, for as much I mocked, and I say mocked, pointed out that Seth haven't got a 5. As far as 5s go, casting a Khan on turn 3 isn't the worst.
Yeah, you just get to get back the same couple of artifacts over and over and over.
But I mean, are you setting up your draw here? Or are you just shenanigans the Astral Cornucopia?
Easiest shenanigans of my actually you could
Of your
probably
life.
use naked.
The
You could
easiest
probably-
shenanigans of your life. That's not a sentence you say very often, is it?
Yeah, I had to stop myself because I've had some easier shenanigans, but also Nature's Claim plus Faithless Looting is a better turn than just shenanigans.
So we're not shenanigansing shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
Well, Megan's ditching it to the Faithless, which just seems fair. I mean,
Love it. That's cool. I love this line.
Yeah, that's way better than. Well, I guess we don't get to say shenanigans in Zing.
No, well, it has Dredge.
It does.
So this is
have
gonna
Dredge.
both put another card in the graveyard next turn, but
I mean,
also just be a shatter that we drew.
Between shenanigans and Hogak, there's got to be a secret Dredge player somewhere on the R&D teams at Magic's HQ, right? They're like, oh, we don't like Cage. Let's give a Dredge card the ability to get around Cage, right? And they're like, oh, Delve wasn't busted. If we give that Delve and Castable from Graveyard. So are you on the below the sort of the Meek here as well?
I think I would rather just play a couple creatures. I would be inclined to just probably Carrion Feeder Grave Crawler and start going to town.
Okay.
Like,
I mean, keeping up Nature's Claim isn't terrible either.
Well, you can just cast it on your next turn. I want to get this Grave Crawler out of the graveyard.
Yeah.
When we know that Saffron has a bunch of cages and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the point, I guess. Like, having Nature's Claim up isn't terrible as well against this heavy artifact deck.
Yeah, no, it's not like unplayable or anything, but we really need to get to attacking at some point.
Oh, she dredged the shenanigans and then hit Bridge from below, which would have been the Neonate draw. So we were one turn off Neonate going to hand for the Bridge going to hand for the Neonate. So it's a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah, that's a little bit rough, but we still have the ability to just like keep Saffron off of permanence here.
Astral Cornucopia.
Nice. You're doing great, sweetie.
He has no green mana. He has no third land. The new Kirin feed is so good.
It is time to rock the beats.
Is that the official term for playing zombies?
Beats by Grave.
That was a gravely disappointing.
Glimmervoid's
a pretty good call here.
Yeah, Glimmervoid's great. Now we are.
He gets to play some Magic for a little bit.
Don't like that.
I mean, he's on 28 life as well. It'd be a shame if his opponent had some sort of like mill combo kill, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and maybe God, that'd be demented, wouldn't it?
Wow.
Sorry, I'll alter my joke next time.
I hope Chaz enjoying this because I'm not. So we can't see what the Stirrings has found yet. We will see very shortly.
Just give it a second. This never happens.
There we go. Tormod's
Crypt.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on in that graveyard.
Fine. Yeah, you just get two shenanigans, the Tormod's Crypt.
Exactly. I mean, there's two Faithless Lootings in the graveyard, but that's rather unexciting. At least the bridge is in hand. I mean, the Crypt does slow down, like getting a third land, using your Faithless to put the bridge in the bin, and then getting like really off to the races.
I mean, it buys you a turn, but it's not actually going to cleanly answer the shenanigans here.
What is the perfect answer for shenanigans, though? You know, like anti-shenans.
Okay, so maybe the line here is Megan really just wants to go ahead and get one of these altars on the battlefield.
Yeah, so that forces the Crypt. So there's no more grave crawlers. Attack for 2, taking Saffron Olive down to just a paltry 26.
Look, I got nothing.
I mean, all life loss is good when you're trying to kill your opponent, right? So that's the full plan. So now we might see a Khan here.
Oh, wow. So not casting Shenanigans last turn may have actually been super smart because now if Saffron Karns, he can't just get a crypt and eat the Shenanigans.
Right. Okay.
Wow. Okay. I've come around on this line. I like this. This is okay. That was heads up. I'm into it.
I mean, I guess his game plan now is to try and lock, I think. I mean, the upside of Karn anyway, regardless of the Mugsent Plat's lock, is from a meta perspective that it does turn off all of Dementia, so then we are on the beatdown line again. But at the same time, Karn will be vulnerable to just getting slapped a couple of times by Carrion Feeder and dying.
Yeah, if you just draw, any creature.
Like Gravecrawler being the best, but yeah, anything really. Well, anything but Vengevine, right? You never really want to just raw draw those. I guess Hogak wouldn't be very good here either. I guess that crypt was more debilitating than perhaps I was giving it credit for, because even drawing a third land gives you what? The ability to cast. So we're going to see Karn.
Yeah, maybe there's a chance that what Saffron was thinking about there is if he went Astral Cornucopia for 1, next turn he has 5 mana to go Karn plus Cage instead of Crypt.
Sure. But he knows about the Shenanigans, doesn't he? Because it was dredged.
Right.
So he needs to play around that.
Maybe the line he was thinking, ooh, what if he gets a Walking Ballista here?
So he can kill the feeder and also turn off a bridge if it ends up in the graveyard as well.
Right. So basically the idea is if you get Walking Ballista with Karn, then next turn, assuming Megan doesn't rip a creature, you can kill the Carrion Feeder and you get to untap with Karn a third time and actually just start going to town at that point.
I think one of the weirdest things about Karn's design is not only can he go and get lattice and lock you out of the game, he can turn the lattice into a 6/6 blocker or attacker as well.
Yeah.
The first time it happened to me, I was like, "Oh, it's fine. I've got a board. I'm going to tap the Karn."
Oh yeah. Okay,
and then they just ticked up and made it into a 6/6. Like, I guess my board isn't good enough because I only play 3/1s. Okay, Karn has ticked up. I guess that pads an attack.
Yeah, I actually like that. This is the way to play around Shenanigans and also another creature off the top.
So Shenanigans in the card or just general Shenanigans?
I
was making a joke about
What?
the card being called Shenanigans. I was being silly. Why are you allowed to be silly and I'm not, Emma? Come on.
Well, you see, my humor is dry.
All right, mine's damp, moist, some might say.
Don't say that.
So Karn has gone to 4 from being slapped by Carrion Feeder. And he's drawn an island. Some would say the most powerful card in Magic. I think that's nonsense, though. Basic Plains is a lot better.
Okay, buddy.
Let's have a look at that sideboard and
Whatever
see what Seth's options are here.
I wonder if Spellskite is actually just really good. Oh no, we have God, this Shenanigans is putting in so much work.
Yes.
Can you believe your squad didn't put a Shenanigans in your deck?
I had one in my build, but
it's all right. We didn't bring artifacts, so y'all are very smart for not including Shenanigans. We are very smart for including Shenanigans. So it's a win-win here. We're all geniuses.
It's just making me laugh. I've forgotten this is an Urza deck. So it's making me laugh seeing this Aether Flux Reservoir because obviously we haven't seen it really go off as an Urza deck yet. We've just seen it beat down with a singular Karn construct and like lock people.
That's what we call a construct.
Yeah, the Temple Bell is pretty funny as well. The deck's just funny.
Like, what is the Temple Bell? Can you explain?
I think it's with the Paradox Engine. You can just keep going and draw your deck because you'll have like all the mana in the world, and you just need to draw cards to untap your things again.
Yeah,
I don't know. Caleb and Seth were just going off talking about it, and I was like, I'm on a plane. My reception's bad. Like the Wi-Fi's bad. Just
that sounds
good luck.
Fun. Y'all. As long as I don't have to play it, y'all go out there. Have fun.
Yeah, when the Pterrys came, it was like, I'm not stuck with Urza at any point, am I?
Go team.
So, come on, Carney boy.
Is it Snaring Bridge good enough?
It just gets blown up though, right?
Oh yeah, because I'm trying to think of things that break these grave crawlers, and every time I do, I then whip my head back and check Megan's hand for an answer, and it's
got to be Walking Ballista, right? It's got to be Walking Ballista.
Well, Ballista doesn't do it, right? You just Ballista before combat, and then if the Ballista shoots a Carrion Feeder, you just put the counter on the other one.
Chalice of the Void to put on 2? That seems pretty good.
Ooh.
Well, I hope he's putting on 2. If he puts it on 1, that might be a bit of a mistake. So, okay, that's pretty good. That gets him out from behind the shenanigans, as it were.
I'm into that.
The funny thing is, like, that only in the whole deck stops shenanigans and Ult of Dementia. There's no other 2-drops, is there? Because weirdly, that as much as we talk about the Hogak deck being broken and whether or not it'll be around forever, it is actually really weak to an early Chalice on 1.
Ooh.
Oh dear. So.
Yes, discard the altar.
So we now have a bridge from below in the graveyard, which means every creature that dies makes a 2/2. Seems fair, really. Like, it's got downside and everything, that card.
All right, so now we get to finish off the Karn, won them, and honest, we probably just cast shenanigans to put it in the graveyard.
Oh,
because it's an
okay,
extra
that's
card
fair.
in the graveyard next turn.
And then allows you to dredge more and get Hogak online earlier.
Yeah.
Because I'm just trying to think what Seth can even draw at this point to bring him back into the game. Like another Karn to then go grab a Walking Ballista?
I mean, honestly, now that Chalice is online, so Megan dredged her 3rd Nature's Claim earlier and only has 1 left in the deck at this point.
I guess just drawing an Urza is probably our best bet.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes another body. And then we start to make mana. I say we. The Brew Crew start to make mana.
The Brew Crew starts to make mana.
But that said, with an attack here to kill Karn, post-combat, you guys can sack your Carrion Feeder, mill your graveyard, cast a Hogak off the untapped zombies, and just start going to town.
Yeah,
I mean, Seth might not untap. Yeah, there's a very good chance Seth doesn't untap. We've also got a land drop for the turn as well. Wowza.
All right, well, let's go.
All aboard.
Okay, so yeah, here's that shenanigans. Yeah, you can just wait a turn. I think I like this.
It does open to like another Karn into Crypt though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but are you beating that?
Yeah, because you could just
I
mill
mean,
Seth to death.
Yeah, I mean, if you literally hit all of the cards you need to do
Yeah,
that.
of course. You need to hit another bridge. You need to hit
Yeah.
another bridge. But you make so much power as well. Like even if that happened, you still get to swing. But
Yeah, that's
Seth has
fair.
also continued to draw more rocks that make mana. So
Love it. I love the work he's doing.
he just likes rocks.
What? Can we say
We're like,
that?
Seth, you should play green black rock, and he's like, sure. And he shows up with mono blue rocks. Like that's not what we meant, Seth, but sure. Surprised there's not blood moons inside all of this because he can cast them.
Look, he's got so many different color rocks. His whole deck looking like a Fruit Loop box.
It's like rainbow rocks. Astral Cornucopia. My favorite mana rock that looks like an ice cream.
All right. Well, I believe the game is concluded. It might take a few minutes, but
Is this game 2? I'm jet lagged. Is this game 2?
we are up a game at the moment.
Oh. Wow.
If it's any consolation, even if we go to another match after this, it is y'all's Jund deck against my Mill deck, which I think is a horrendous matchup.
That is true. Tamagolf does enjoy Mill.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah. It is,
long walks on the beach, romantic novels, and Mill.
and
That's Tamagolf's pastimes.
Dreadhorde Arcanist does not make it better.
I forgot. Yeah, of course. Wow, we might see some more rhinos before the evening's out. I'm excited. Here comes one big Arisen Necropolis. Who would win? Multiple rocks or an entire city of undead?
I'm so glad that chat caught my grills reference.
I don't even know what that is. Grills? Oh, as in like Bear Grylls? Bear Grylls.
Yeah, you got it.
He drinks his own urine.
You know who I am.
Well, we drew Urza. This was a great draw 2 turns ago. What does this do now? So Seth now has 4/5 mana. He can activate Urza. I mean, there's nothing. That does involve tapping out. Okay, this is where. Okay, show us how the deck can do, Saffron Love. Come on.
So Karn into Cage.
Okay, he's hit another Urza. That's pretty cool. I like that. I mean, he should have tapped his Chalice so that he had another blocker, but I don't think it matters too much.
This is actually a really good hit because it exiles the
Yeah,
bridge.
yeah, definitely. I believe. I mean, there might be a reason, but I think he mistapped with not tapping the Chalice, so now he doesn't have the blocks for that to be good. But he is also on 26 life, so if we're not going for the mill kill,
All
maybe
right.
the game isn't over. Maybe Urza will have his time to shine as a broken commander card. Here he comes, Hogak coming through. He's looking at you.
Beep beep.
Chunked down to 18. He's below starting health now. Oh, Safonov getting to untap with Urza seems very good. Maybe we'll see some Temple Bell action before the turn is out.
I hope not.
Are you a fan of Temple Bell, Emma? Have you ever registered Temple Bell for a competitive event before?
Have I ever? Honey, how long have you played Magic?
Myself, since a Urza Saga, I think.
Oh, you played longer than me, but
I'm only 21 though, of course.
One of my first pre-cons that I ever had was the snake deck that had Sensei's Divining Top, Orochi Hatchery, and Temple Bell.
Oh, really? What set was Temple Bell originally then? I thought it was like an M10 card or something.
It is, but it was originally in Champions of Kamigawa.
Oh, so it was another. Okay.
Yeah.
One of my earliest pre-cons I remember playing at kitchen table when I started to really enjoy Magic was the same era. One of the Kamigawa ones that had Jitty, the Rat's Nest had Jitty in it. So he's activated Urza and hit Urza again. So we're going to see a third Urza now, which makes a lot of power of constructs.
Yeah, these constructs are now bigger than Hogak.
Also, whilst we were talking complete nonsense about rat nests and snake decks, Seth also played a Grafdigger's Cage. We should probably mention that. That's quite important for this match. And Seth is now getting into the red zone with an Urza and two constructs. Interesting.
So, hopefully, so the line here is if she hits some bridges, with this altar, it is still possible for her to win via mill because she still has this Hogak in her hand. She doesn't actually need to cast it from graveyard.
Sure. She's opted not to mill, but to increase the power of the Kirin feeder instead. So now we have double Hogak in hand. And Seth has won. Okay.
All right. Well,
it's not the way I thought it was going to go, but I'm
one more
starting to see Urza. Pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. So do people run it back? Do you like any sideboarding changes on the play?
I don't think there's really anything to change here. The more you dilute these sorts of combo decks, the more that basically the worse they get, right? It's a synergy deck where everything's just kind of the sum of its parts. So
except for Seth's deck, where when you activate Urza, it finds exactly Urza.
Look, it's very nice sometimes.
Better to be lucky than good, some might say. Yeah, we're not seeing any changes from the looks of things. They are thinking, though. They're tanking a little bit just to consider. Oh, no, we are seeing a change from Megan. Perhaps on the play, she's bringing back in some of the black 1-drops to be more aggressive.
Yeah, it makes sense. You just
and cut Bloodcast.
people
I like
sometimes.
that. So you laugh, but have you registered Temple Bell for an event before?
Yeah, not in a very long time, but I played a Turbo Fog deck with original Tamiyo and Elixir of Immortality and stuff. It was a lot of fun. I think the deck had Otherworldly Atlas as well.
It sounds like a lot of fun for you. It sounds miserable for your opponent.
You're so right. It was a lot of fun.
Seth has mulliganed to 6. He's found a Grafdigger's Cage, but no lands.
Let's see if he keeps the no lander.
Nope, he's gone to 4. Again. 5, sorry, but with a cage.
All right.
And this hand from Megan looks really good. The only tension being that the Nature's Claim can't fetch a... Do you have a Stomping Grounds in the deck?
We do not, but we don't need red right now.
Sure.
And if last game is any indicator, then I don't think this game is going to be a short one.
Yeah, exactly. So What we also saw from Citrus Supply that it put a bridge from below into the graveyard, which is a very good hit. And we found a Grave Call off the top.
I hope we Nature's Claim this Grafdigger's Cage at sorcery speed. Just so we can turn off colored mana from the Spire of Industry.
And unknowingly to Megan, the other Spire of Industry in his hand. And that'll lock away Ancient Grudge, and then Seth won't get to... Well, he's got 2/2 in his hand, but he won't get to dig any deeper for combo pieces or mana rocks. And he loves mana rocks, we've seen that. Okay, Overgrown 2. I think you're going to get your wish. No, it's another Gravecrawler. Okay. I mean, I also... The Nature's Claim line also plays around Chalice, so Chalice on 1 now would be pretty rough.
Wow, not playing the claim now looks super smart. Since Saffron drew another copy of it, now Megan's honestly just able to apply a lot more pressure. There is that.
Well, we're talking about like all these like plays around Chalices and taking them off colored mana. She could just smash his teeth in with little zombies. That is a thing that can do as well.
That sounds very good. I hope that happens.
He's hit Darksteel Citadel, so he's close to Urza mana. There's the second cage. There's the first red spell she can't cast. There's some tension there. Like you said, though, it wasn't an issue with the initial hand. But this is also 5 damage. This is a 3-turn clock.
Yeah, this is not bad. There's a point where if she just ignores the cages and gets Core Tapper out of the way.
Well, you're also right in the fact that it becomes smart because Nature's Claim does have a downside that we don't really talk much about in Magic, where they gain 4 life. And we saw Seth last turn take a Hogak to the chin and still have 18 life. So yeah, the 5 damage to the face clock is also again counterintuitive to the Nature's Claim. So I think that might have been the right thing to do, is just get really aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, modern All-Star Surge node. I love it.
That's what we call a staple.
End of turn. We seeing a Nature's Claim here? Okay, yeah, see, Megan's in the tank about it because of the aggression.
Ooh, you know what that is? An attacker.
It is. It is certainly that.
Modern attacking creature, Bloodghast.
The other thing as well, there is a Bridge from Below in the graveyard, but I guess if Core Tapper dies, Bridge from Below goes. So, okay.
It feels really bad to have to target the Core Tapper like this, but if it trades with a Gravecrawler, Megan loses the Bridge from Below, and because these cages are on the battlefield, Megan can't actually cast Gravecrawler.
Exactly. It feels a bit like Plowshares and Legacy, when sometimes it's just best to plow the 4/4, the 5/5 more often than not, and just get in. Astral Cornucopia. As you've seen, this card is very powerful. On par with 8 mana Tramplers on turn 2.
I love what y'all are doing. This is just...
Here comes the Cornucopia, all aboard the ice cream train. A third Nature's Claim. Well...
Nature runs these streets.
He's gone to 7. Okay, can you draw Urza?
All right. Let's see nothing off the top.
I mean, Urza is easily the best draw here, right? Gives him 2 blockers. Gives him a load of mana. Oh, it's an Urza! That's pretty good. I mean, so he plays Urza and he blocks obviously the biggest creatures, 2/2/2/1s, right? Takes 3 and goes to 4.
Oh my god.
I think that was easily his best draw. I mean, Thopter Foundry would have been good as well, because that would have made a lot of bodies and gain life. Okay.
Ooh.
I guess he probably tapped the top of his deck and said, deck, and then was rewarded for such. I think he has to take a damage to play it. Is that correct? No, Cornucopia's got 2 much.
Yeah, Cornucopia is good there.
It's just... And he's got Surge Node to charge it up as well.
God, he gets to tap his stuff in play to... Does he get to spin it? He can tap Node, put a counter on Cornucopia. Oh, I guess he could just tap it for a mana with Urza anyway, but...
Yeah, so he's not netting mana there, but it gains him turn if he's alive. Bearing in mind, so we need to remember, Seth is below 10 now, so every Bloodcast drawn has haste. But by the same extension, there are 2 Grafdigger's Cages in play, so the Ghasts can't come back. Is he playing out the Sword of the Meek? I mean, it makes sense for
it's
mana
pretty
efficiency.
free.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, he could fake something, but I mean, what on our list can he fake that Megan cares about?
I think you're supposed to tap Sword of the Meek in your Spire to put Sword on Urza. Not that it matters that much, but...
Indeed. So Megan has drawn Altar of Dimension here, which again isn't terrible. Like, there's a lot of... If she really suddenly believes she can't win the ground fight, there's the chance of just taking it to the... I was going to say to the skies, that's not true. To the deck. She can just start chopping down decks like trees, like some sort of crazy lumberjack.
You okay over there?
No. I'm very jet lagged. I'm very jet lagged. I wish lumberjacks existed more in Magic and they didn't just like sack lands for mana. They were known for like... Because don't forget, lumberjacks work in mills, right? Wood mills. See, there was layers to that joke, like an onion. Like an ogre. So would you swing here? Would you attack?
No, absolutely not. No.
You're gonna he's gonna attack with Urza and all that man. I am excitement. This is very exciting.
Yeah, it doesn't feel very good, but I think your line that makes you the most likely to win here, I think you're supposed to sorcery speed and Nature's Claim on one of the Grafdigger's cages.
It cuts him off mana too, and if you aren't attacking, you aren't killing him.
Yeah.
The other thing as well, like I said about the red source, and I thought you were completely correct that it wasn't going to matter. But the game's gone long again, and that is a Tormod's Crypt, which at the moment doesn't do a whole lot.
Well, so before the line was Nature's Claim a cage, untap. If you rip a land, Nature's Claim a cage, Altar of Dementia go off. But that line does not exist anymore because Saffron has found the third Grave Hate piece here.
They've activated Urza. Found Surge Node. 4 mana chew up Surge Node. Seems good. Then we're gonna Urza again, I assume. The hand is empty. So I guess the best hits here is just hitting the Foundry and then just starting to make Thopters.
Yeah.
Oh, 5 mana? I thought it was 4. Am I going mad? Well, it is 5. Oh. Thopter Foundry off the top, and he's got a mana open. I cannot believe it. That is perfect. He has 2 mana up, 1 off the construct, 1 off the crypt. He can now sack his Sword of the Meek to make a 1/1 Thopter, bring in Sword of the Meek back. Because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Grafdigger's Cage does not stop Sword of the Meek coming back.
Correct. So what Megan would have to do is Nature's Claim the Thopter Foundry right now.
Right, okay. So she does have counterplay here, so that is something. He can also just sack the Thopter Foundry to gain a body and a life, but maybe he wants the full life instead. I'm not sure.
Saffron can actually just keep going here. If he had just floated a blue and sacked like his Surge Node,
yes, I think
make a Thopter,
that might
then he could have gone that way.
Oh, it doesn't matter because the Sword of the Meek comes back to the Thopter anyway, so he does get to keep going.
Right, but if he had done it in response, then the sword comes back and he can tap the sword and just make infinite mana.
But he still
in
can.
Response.
He still can.
How?
Because the Sword of the Meek's in play.
But the Thopter Foundry isn't.
Oh, I see. Sorry, my bad. Of course. Yeah, so he had a window. He had a window and he can't do it.
Yeah.
My bad. So yeah, he could have made a lot of Thopters and get a lot of that. I think that might have just been an oversight.
It's unlikely to make a huge difference with this crypt on the battlefield.
Yeah, he did 2 games in a row. He said this man activate his Urza and rip like Xaxes of the things he wants. It's been pretty good. I've been pretty impressed with it so far. So this Hogak can be cast.
I think we're supposed to alter first.
Right. Yeah, because if you hit multiple bridges, you maybe can't mill kill, but you can make a lot of power. So here comes Hogak. One big necropolis.
It's almost big enough to block the construct.
Almost.
Almost.
And that construct's get big. So that's an inventor fair. Inventors fair, should I say. There are multiple inventors at this fair.
That's got to be game, right? You either get you just get the Paradox engine.
Yep. So Seth, I think the world is Seth's proverbial oyster here. He can get the engine and just keep going with Urza, making like 1 million mana and just casting his deck. Well, that's it. So Venice Fair is it 4 or 5 track?
4.
4. So tapping his lands plus 1 artifact, get the Paradox engine, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana to get the engine. So no, he can't go off because if he got engine, he would need to cast another spell afterwards.
Right.
Oh, but though he can,
Well,
yeah.
Can you not activate Ursa afterwards?
So
you would have 4, 1, 2, 8, 9.
No, you only have
10,
3, 4
11.
mana.
Yeah, you're right. So I guess he's stuck just getting Thopter Foundry.
I mean, just getting Foundry. I mean, it's pretty good here. He's just going to win the game with Infinite Life and Infinite
In BD.
That said, the mill kill is still open, right? Even with Infinite Life and Infinite kills. The problem being there are 2 Graphic Cages and a Tormod Script in play and only 1 Nature's Claim in Megan's hand. So she's going to go again. Will he see the line of making a load of Thopters here?
Yeah, now you can really just sack one of these. Okay, he found it.
I guess Megan's other line is Seth's timing out.
That's true.
Well, no, I don't know if we count that because we've got 25-minute clocks.
It's kind of an ugly reality. Well, we're the ones who hosted, so it would have been on. It's our clock that suffered, not y'all's.
Well, I would expect a concession at some point, but
look, I'm in your corner, but also time making time.
Like, no, I'm rooting for anything that's not playing Hogak. Let's be honest. I guess secretly I was rooting for you last. Hogak did not want it.
You didn't root hard enough. You could have just conceded, man.
No, you can't. Hogak's angry. Have you ever seen Hogak angry? You don't want to hang out with Hogak when he's angry.
He is an arisen necropolis. I'll give you that.
He's got a bad attitude, that Hogak. I think he needs to be took out behind the shed and. So Seth is now making a lot of Thop-Thops. Do you remember when Sword of the Meek wasn't legal in Modern?
I do, actually. When it got unbanned, I rushed online and bought a set of foil Thopter Foundries for too much money.
I played a lot of Thopter in EDH. I used to have a Shroom EDH deck. That's fun.
Oh, Shroom is like one of the go-tos.
Yeah, huge combo potential. But I think it's very funny that we once had Sword Thopter as like a banned thing. And now we're sat here laughing that it's like the week of the 2 combo decks that's playing against with new cards from Commander Horizons.
And you saw it there, Saffron won, so that means that y'all are actually going to win this week's Team Modern Super League. Congratulations.
Wait, was I the only player on my team that lost?
Yeah.
Oh no, Seth got won over by you as well, didn't he? Yeah, see, Hogak can't win all the time, but it wins a lot of the time. So though we saw it that it turns out that Urza is also a good Magic card. If you land a hit perfectly every time with the exact card you need, that's also pretty good. So Seth showed off streamer luck, I guess they call it. I'm sure I had some of that.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think the Urza deck's legit, or do you think it's a bit of a meme? Honestly,
the Urza deck.
Yeah,
I think it's probably real. I really like the canister version with Arkham's Astrolabe. The Surge Node thing. I think that's probably a meme, but the Urza, like Thopter Sword, all that stuff, I think that's super real. Right?
There's definitely a shelf for it. Whether or not that composition, like, I think that's Caleb's composition, whether that's like the correct way to have it, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, Urza's a super powerful card. We saw right there just how strong the engine was, right? Saffron won on a mold of 5 and what was basically just regular mana rocks. It's not like they did anything super impressive there game 2.
You could say he rocked
Nope. I cannot say that.
I guess we should do we tie up now and just
let's
of course I need to mention that Pomplamoose are playing Mage Market next week.
I'm really excited about that.
Same bat channel, same bat time. Is that the term? Hopefully they'll
it's next week on this channel at 6:00 Pacific Standard.
I'm hoping it'll be Hogak versus Urza, if that's what this whole thing turns into. Well, that'd be pretty funny. So we've got Pomplamoose versus Mage Market next week. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you to everyone who got involved. everyone who got into the chat, everyone who subbed, everyone who came on to play and to narrate as well. Emma, do you have anything else to add before we sign off?
Good night.
Good night. See you guys later.